time for your motherfucking mind. Talk about your mind. Yo, I'm saying they gonna smell me in this one, nigga. No doubt. Check it out. Oh, yeah. On the cross town with the top down, sounds banging out the back. All right, in the shorter to deep, splashing me thighs, wind blowing through the hair. Baby, we can take it there, but first I gotta make the time right. Baby, slow down, my crib's on the other side of town. But from the look in her eyes, she was hypnotized. Dropped her hands on my chest and started getting undressed. Tell me why. Baby, you did when you see the nigga did. But could it be the ice you see? But you feel that you really got you feeling me, baby. So tight, just can't slide. All about me, yeah. 60-inch TV, but satellite DTV, whatever you need. Got the bubbles in the tub, backed up, stick sheets made to the tub. Oh, girl, I wanna hit it in the worst way. Talking like you be coming back like every day. Oh, yeah, send me back to your girl for something else to say. How I split at your way to the good days, my breaking your legs, see it in a bit. Oh, but could it be the ice you see? Would you tell me that you really did? I'm never so tight, just can't stop. I'm thinking that it's all about me. What could it be? Could it be the drop top dance that got your friends going out on the limb? Sliding in the boots when you be watching it. Playing me close, but I'm not feeling it. Oh no. Time keeps filling with chips. Is it because of flex tickets around my wrist? The large amounts up in my bank account. You tell me you love me, baby, but what's that all about? Break your neck when you see me naked, yeah, baby. Could it be the ice you shining so bright? That you're feeling me. Could it be the word I know? Don't be told that I never got it done. So tired. Oh yeah. Thinking that it's all about me. What could it be? Could it be my problem? Oh yeah. I choose you. Would you tell me that you really want? Could it be the word? Tell me. Don't be told that I never got it done. So tired. No. I'm thinking that it's all about me. Could it be? Peace, people. Thank you for coming through. Nancy, it does show just 3, but when the live ends, it'll be a lot more people that's on the live than actually is displayed. But thanks for pointing that part out, Nancy Love. Thank you for coming through. I guess you wanted to troll this morning. What's up, Miss D? How you doing? Now, China Mac ended up going to Kenya, and someone recognized him, one of JT Bigger Figure's contacts in Kenya. And he decided that he wanted to help out with food and whatnot. I wanted to show a brief little response of what he did and respond to it. I would like to say salute to him for having the compassion and integrity to want to go over there and do that. But Pan-Africanism, as we know, with Black folks, is just nothing but talk. They don't do the walk. Other people, lone wolves such as myself, have to help out homeless people where I stay from time to time. I'm not doing it right now, but I have in times past. But Pan-Africanism, when it comes to Black people, is just yapping. And you'll just get the illustration of what China Mac has done. physically on the ground, and the difficulties of dealing with, you know, poor people sometimes can be overwhelming. But let's get a brief clip. Let me see on my other phone. Please like and share the video, by the way. Please subscribe to my channel. That will be greatly appreciated. I have not seen the whole entire videos that I'm about to show. I just know that he had 2 on one channel and 1 on another. I know there was something that I wanted to show. Okay, let me get to this part first. Let's show first, before he even ran into the guy that I'm talking about, which I don't know his name, is an African in Kenya who ran into China Mac. Before he did that, he was sightseeing around. So we're going to get a little glimpse of the slums of Kenya from the perspective of what he was able to see and what we can see also. All videos are for educational purposes under copyright 107 of the 1979 copyright for education, research, and observation. Let's go. Let's fast forward that. Let's see here. I didn't know I was going to do all that. Okay, so he just arrived in the slums and he's about to get an introduction to this. Let me see. Here we go.
Hey, yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode on China Mac TV. Today, we in Kenya, we in a hood of Beach Town. We about to show y'all the hood over here. We gonna show y'all how they live, and we gonna take a real deep look into what they do out here. So come on.
You're much welcome. Much welcome.
What's that? That's the beach? Yeah. Oh, that's why y'all call it Beach Town. The gang took me inside their hood and showed me around. After being with the gang for just a few minutes, I could sense that there was something off. There was a certain type of tenseness that was familiar to me. A jitterness that I was accustomed to back home in the States. And then it dawned on me. I was with a gang of junkies.
This is what we call booster. Yeah. Booster. This is heroin. English. We smoke heroin. Motherfucker, we smoke this heroin. Till then.
So he went straight into the crack zone where people were on drugs heavily in the slums, and he found out right when he first got there, that's what they were on. Let's listen.
Oh, like this. 150. $10. These are 10.
So y'all smoke it? Y'all smoke it or y'all
smoke it?
Whatever that is, yes, he's about to smoke it. What's up, King Cornus? What do you mean about he got rocked? You mean this part right here, or are you saying that he got into a fight? What do you mean by that? What's up, Lynn M and Pinky Wells? Thank you all for coming through. Again, this is China Mac, who is Asian Chinese, who is in Kenya, and he is now interacting with the people of the slums, and he didn't realize that they were all drug heads, but now he's finding out that that's what's going on right here.
Anything what you want, you will get.
Now, this is what he was able to record live. Like, they weren't having no qualms over sharing their lifestyle with him. They wanted him to experience the reality of what they're really going through, and this is their reality. Again, he was able to capture this as it unfolded right in front of his face. They weren't trying to be shy about it.
Forget about troubles, anything I have troubling me in myself, I throw it away. Now,
How often do you smoke it?
2 years.
How often? Like every day?
Every day, around 3 days.
3 times a day?
Every day.
You know this is money. Don't fuck my money. What is this, nigga? Give me a nice drug, man. I'm sick. Give me drugs. See? Give me my drugs. See?
He said, give me my drugs. Wow, this is a lot. Again, this is Kenya. This is the slums. These are drug heads. This is what China Mac TV is enduring. He went there to observe, and then he ended up helping out, which I salute him for, because not a lot of people have a heart to go in the thickness of this type of situation and help out. But it's no wonder that others have to help because Africans are not helping, apparently. Let's go.
But look, my friend.
These are my guys. They like me. And that's why I welcome you, because even my army likes you so much. I'm the commander. And you see these guys, some of them we don't have a job.
How do y'all find the money to get this?
I still see. Sometimes take some meals from the car. Sometimes it's like some phone.
He said he still, I think he said, what's up, Alexis? What's up, everybody? You said in New York, got rocked. He's gonna get dropped again. My love niggas stomped that China boy down in Rikers. That's why he missing teeth. Are you serious? Are you trolling?
Sometimes you see, that's how
So that's your gang. That's what your gang does?
Niambie tu pesa ngapi moja? Unaweza tumia for how long? Mwili yako imezoea aje? Kufungua asubuhi na jioni. So ushafungua ya asubuhi? Jua kali ni wapi? Job hapo. Unafanya nini? Unafua. Alafu ukipata madoo utabai.
How old? 24. 24? Who's the youngest? The youngest. Do kids smoke this too?
Yeah.
Kids too? How old?
Kids? No kids. No under 18 years. No under 18 is above 18.
youngest 22.
Yeah.
I noticed that the high had wore off pretty quickly. When they were high, they were talkative and down for the interviews. But after a while, I noticed that their mind just went somewhere else. And they started walking up to the road, and then they broke off from me. I had no idea what was going on. However, I did notice that the gang was standing by the speed bump. And as the cars were slowing down for the speed bump, the gangs would rush the car and started opening the doors and snatching whatever they could. And just like that, I witnessed how the gang supports their drug habit. They over there doing something. So let me just show y'all from the top. I don't want to make it too hot because They all over there going crazy. We don't want to make it hot. What's going on, China Mac TV? Back at y'all with another exclusive banger. We're in CBD. We're about to travel to Pipeline.
Again, he had his first introduction with the slum. I just wanted to show that segment of it because that was, I think, traumatic to see. Like people just breaking out with drugs and getting high in front of you and talking about feed my habit, give me drugs. That's your introduction to the slum. He was able to handle it pretty well, though. But I want to show now when he helped out the people on the ground, because he did have another video. I want to show. Where'd it go? Okay. So this is another day, about a couple of weeks ago.
The only word they know is give money. Fuck, I look like an ATM? Dude, this is crazy. Everywhere I go, give money, give money. I must look like a fucking, whoa, what's up? How you doing? Yes, sir. I must look like a fucking walking ATM or something, man. When I was on the plane going to Africa, and when I landed in Kenya, I seen so many Chinese people. Like, I seen a lot of them. Like, maybe if it was like one, even if it was 1 or 2, I would be like super surprised. But it was like 50. What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing? It was like 50, 60 of them. Mobbing. So I'm like, what the fuck are they doing here? Come to find out, when I was talking to the cab driver, the Chinese are over here building roads and taking on, like, you know, the construction. What's up? How you doing?
I don't understand why he don't know. I mean, unless he's completely untied from China's Asian people, Chinese people. He is Chinese. So I don't know why he says he doesn't know, because they've been there for a long time. China has been working their magic over there in Africa for about 20 plus years. And there is a whole lot of debt, and he's playing kind of dumb. I really don't believe that he don't know. In my opinion, I think that he's smart enough to understand what China is doing, what they've been doing globally. I'm sure he's been keeping up with on the news, but here he is playing dumb.
Yes, sir. They got fish, some slippers. What's up? Huh? What's up? What you want to talk about? How you doing? What up? What's up? You good? Yes, sir. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. You not hot, bro? You not hot? Huh? This cost? $5. $5. What's up, bro?
Yeah, I know he's American, but he's also Chinese. And, you know, someone as bright as he seems, I'm saying that he might have wanted to know what his people are doing globally, because they have come a long way since the 80s. And he knows that they're like a world power now. So am I supposed to believe that he is not knowing what his people are doing globally? I don't buy it. But yeah, I know he's an American. Here we go.
They get aggressive out here, I ain't gonna lie. So we out here, everybody looking at me nuts. You know, it is what it is. For the most part, you know, I respect everybody, but people look at me aggressively, I just look back. You know, I don't get crazy, I don't get disrespectful, but I'm gonna look them in the eye. What's up? How you doing? How you doing? Yes, sir. I'm just smoking, bro. I don't need no cab right here. Taxi? Nah, I don't need no taxi. Huh?
He definitely cosplaying us. Ain't that right, Lynn? My goodness. He says, you said he think we don't know about Chinese in Africa. Apparently he thinks that. Like the video, everybody. Safe brother. What's up? Thank you for that. And Green Tom says, this is the way. I am not a Pan-African, by the way, Green Tom, but I'm just showcasing what he is calling himself doing in Kenya and the types of things that he's encountering. I am not a Pan-African. I'm a Pan-American. I believe in helping what you can see in the neighborhood where you are, not trying to throw money at another country where someone could take advantage of you as a people and bankrupt us as a people. Pinky says Chinese loan African countries money for construction only if the government gives the contracts to Chinese contractors. Yeah, I heard of that. They're very smart. They capitalize upon capitalizing and making Africa owe so much money. That's why I feel all this sudden interest in so-called diaspora, a new term that they are trying to fixate onto us as Americans. Oh, y'all part of the diaspora too, even though you don't have a home country nowhere in Africa. You don't have no ties there in Africa. You don't have no lineage over there in Africa. I don't give a damn what a test done told you. I don't give a flying fuck about it. I am not from Africa. I don't have no blood relatives over there. You cannot make me, but they still attempt to by putting that diaspora term onto us. Chinese construction is shit, Ben says. What's up, Ben? It will all fall down in 10 years. Just look, their buildings collapsing in China. Well, they're doing better than what the Africans can do, apparently. I remember all the building collapses that happened in Nigeria. There was a school, I think, that collapsed years ago with kids in the school. A lot of collapses I did on my other channel talking about Nigeria's sorry construction or engineers, whatever the hell you want to, architects, whatever you want to call them. You said in China they called them tofu dregs? Huh. You said China will own Africa in a few more years. They were owned. They were definitely owned. He is more adept in the Black American community and somewhat ostracized from Chinese community. I never heard him speak any Chinese language, but I'm sure he runs into Chinese people all the time in America. It's not like they're not there. I don't know why so many people hate China. Because they're slowly but surely colonizing Africa. Nobody hates them. I don't have nothing to do with China, so I can't hate something I don't have nothing to do. But I feel that Africa is going to get done dirty eventually with all the debts that they have, and that's not on us to trip on. That's on Africans and people that are in Africa to trip about. Yet he is now within the younger Asian hip hop community. Now he is not, you said, out yet he's known. Okay. What's up, Charlie Shaw? Thank you for coming through. You said China will take over all that when the Africans can't repay the high interest loans. I know. He has Chinese relatives. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that they keep up on everything going on. So he is not oblivious to what China is doing in Africa, is what I mean. And I think that he's playing dumb to make it seem like he's more of us, closer to us than he is to Chinese people. But I ain't buying none of that. Let's go.
Hey, what's up? What's your name, bro? Joseph. You speak English? China Mac. Yeah, from America. JT who? Hell yeah, I know JT. That's a fact, I know JT. You know JT? You know JT? Here, you met JT here. We have been coming here. We have been visiting people. That's crazy. This is our friend who has been coming. It's been coming to Kenyan. Right. Oh, you know, yeah. Well, he been helping? Yeah, he told me. He got like water. He was giving out water. So what's your plan? I'm just walking around.
It's coincidental that he did run into JT Bigger Figures guy that he used to help out when he was there. That was like God sent that happened. So that's kind of ironic.
Oh shit. Come on. Show me around. It's your neighborhood. Yeah, why you looking at me on here? It's very dangerous, dog. It's dangerous out here. Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Just walk around. Fuck it. Sage is my middle name. Which way we going? Yeah. I want to try some food. They got some good food over here. Some good. Yo, why you wearing a jacket? Y'all not hot? Everybody wearing jackets. Yeah, I'm a rapper. Are you a rapper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a rapper in this wood. I've come from the studio now. We are doing taxi too.
You doing taxi?
Yes, I dance over there.
It gets cold at nighttime, probably.
Yeah.
You outside. That's why you got to keep it on you. So you might got a blink on you. He might got a blink. I might have linked one of them ones. Oh, what's the name of this neighborhood?
You can give me change style.
Yo, you know, I was just in the car in the cab and I seen it, and I was like, stop. I want to come out.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what this was.
Welcome to our wood.
Oh man, I'm glad I met you. Everybody looking at me crazy.
Because we are Chinese, and the Chinese they were building our roads and left them like that.
Wait. So y'all, they don't like Chinese here?
Yeah, they don't like Chinese because they were building our roads and left like.
And they just laugh. I'm not from China, bro. I'm from America. You feel me?
They don't like the Chinese. But the Chinese are the only ones that are actually building and making what Africa is now being modernized to look like, for the most part. The buildings that look bigger and better, I guess. They really have put a whole lot of monies into the different projects, the railroad project, and other projects they have done. You said he's just be like a fake black. He is definitely cosplaying us. Ben says the Chinese are just colonization, colonism 2.0. You was told that he went to prison before, Easy X, for being involved in a shooting. He is considered a bad boy in Asian community. Huh. Okay, well, somebody on here claimed that he got beat down in New York or somewhere. I don't know if that's true or not, though.
I'm from Brooklyn, bro. I don't fucking know. I don't know how to build no fucking road. I think that Jay-Z was like doing water, like charity shit. Where he was doing that at?
Yeah, he was being
So that's not the most important part. I just wanted to see that he connected with the guy, and I'm gonna fast forward it now to get to the part where he's gonna help them out. Because he eats something and then he goes and tries to help, and I just wanted to see the interaction and respond to that as he is decided to go and purchase water and food for the people. So I'm trying to find the best part where he did this at. What's up, X-Trap Rebel? Long time no see. How you been? So let me find the better spot because I don't want to waste y'all time, because I have other videos that I want to show too pertaining to Pan-Africanism. So I want to spend a little bit of time on this and move forward to other things. You've been good. Nice to hear. You said China Mac is a rapper and always with us. So yes, he might look like he's cosplaying American Black. Yeah, he is.
How you doing? Brother to our mom. Oh, this is beautiful. You're welcome. I can come in. Yes. Take off my shoes. No.
Don't clean.
Welcome home. I feel like I'm home right now. Look at this. Wow.
This is our home.
This is your home. Yes. Oh man, thank you. What's your name, actually? Mac.
This is my brother.
That's your brother.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you again.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So beautiful. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
My sister.
Nice to meet you. Yes.
And our father.
I shook your hand. Yeah, that's another time. Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes. One love.
Yo, I can't believe I'm in Kenya right now. Like, look at this view. Yo, you gotta get this view right here. This view is crazy. Like, I saw the fish. Where does the fish come from? Is there there is a market. There is a market town. Oh, they come from Kisumu. Okay. They travel. They travel. Okay. Yes. So yeah,
you got to give him credit though where credit is due. At least he's on the ground in Africa. At least he actually went to Africa. He did not have plans to do what he's doing, and he decided to go ahead and flow with it and go with it. You know, Pan-Africans are hypocrites. They don't do this type of thing. You don't hear them at all, except talking shit to us about what we not doing, about what we doing, about what we call ourselves, instead of them going to do the thing like China, Mac, like JT, Bigger Figure, like other singular people have done in times past. They could get their fat asses up. Brandon's bitch ass from Pan-African Strikes Back Again could take his fat ass over there to Kenya and do the same exact thing. But do you ever see that fat ass bitch do any of this? And he's a Pan-African. Think about it. Think about it. It doesn't exist.
If you're ever in Kenya, you need fish. That's the lady to holler at. All right, let's
I mean, you got to be in shape to go here. All this heat, all these people. I could not imagine going through this. Me personally, I know I could not do it. But I don't call myself a Pan-African either.
I came alone by myself. I travel the world by myself. Sometimes with my cousin. Oh, man, look at all these all different laws. No, we don't have that. Hello. So, I would like you to just say hi to the giant, and then maybe we'll just start giving it. Right.
Okay, so he went to meet the people. He's gonna help. So we don't have to keep watching this part. I'm gonna fast forward to when he gets the stuff, and he's starting to hand them out to the people. Let's see if this is the beginning of it. I wonder what he's handing out, though, because it doesn't look like it's anything really. What is he handing out? I have no idea, but okay. Let me see what you guys are saying. Well, I'll turn this down while y'all watch it, and I'll just respond. Y'all can still watch it though. I'll put it on low. Again, this is what Pan-Africans ought to be doing, but they don't go and do it. You have to have an Asian American decide to run into one of the people that was helped before by JT Biggerfigure. Now he's returning the favor by helping the people out of Kenya. Where are the Pan-Africans? Why don't they contact China Mac and say, hey, I'm in the vicinity as well. Why don't I join forces with my channel and our resources or my donations to help out? They don't do no such thing. The biggest hypocrites in the whole entire world are Pan-Africans, but we got to be annoyed by the bastards. We got to be annoyed by what they're wanting us to go do. They want us to be bitchified for others. They want us to get motivated to do these things that they would refuse to do.
What are you talking about? What sugar? All right, brother. All right. Give me. I got They got this sugar, bro. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You gotta talk to him. What is what's happening? I don't have the sugar. You got the sugar, man. I came from Shanghai. Oh, shit. And you don't give me sugar. Oh, what do you want from me, my friend? You want me to... No. You want me to cost you? No. I can cost you. No. Give me sugar. Give me sugar. Back up, bro. Back up. Give me sugar. Back up, bro. Back up, man. Back up, bro.
It looks like he's having some complications, ain't he? Let's rewind that because y'all might have missed a little bit of it when I was talking. Let me go back and see what happened. So he was handing out sugar? Sugar? What? It sounds like anything could pop off. If this guy was a little bit bigger, they might have gotten to a actual fight. Because he's pressing on him a little bit too hard, I would say. But this is what people do if you run out of food. Apparently, they get upset.
I guess he got a sugar.
See, my nerves could not even handle any of that. That's why when I help homeless people out, I shock them. I ride on my bike, drop off some food, have the stuff already packaged, ready to go. Ask them if they want it. If they don't, I keep going. Nice and cool and calm. I can't deal with this chaos right here. I could not put myself in mayhem like this. I would not subject myself to this. But that's just me. Hold on. If you guys could please like the video, I would greatly appreciate that. I know that this is a topic that you guys want to hear, and I'm giving it.
Everyone wants 2, 3, but we have the little that we have. We're trying to share. So it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. I wish I had more money.
Okay, it's not enough. He did what he could. He almost got into a fight. It got really ratchet and raggedy looking in the end. I want to show part of the giveaway that he only had on a short, and then we can move on to another topic pertaining to Pan-Africanism. I hope that you guys are having a nice Sunday today. This is, again, what China Mac went through.
What's going on? Today was the last day of our Kangemi giveaway. How did it go?
We literally fed so many families, like over 1,500 families, plus 500 hot meals.
So that's 1,500 families. That means that's more than 4,000 people are fed off of what we did. So I want to thank you, everybody that donated. Appreciate y'all. But it got super hectic today. Show your bruises.
I got my shoulders all messed up. I got my nails fucked up.
People rushed the truck. They rushed the truck and they started stealing stuff and taking stuff. It just got hectic. However, it is what it is. But we did what we were supposed to set out to do.
So we made sure everybody got fed.
Right, and that's all that matters.
Okay, that was a bit too much for me. Like I said, I would never put myself in that predicament because I would be like worrying about myself having anxiety and all that. I don't like people being in my face and too close, yelling and doing too much. Let me see. Let me go back up. You said, all right. Yet he is. Oh, I read that. What's up, Charlie Shaw? I read that. Pan-Africanism is going down the toilet. Ex-trapped rebel. It never started. Going down the toilet. It never started. Lin M says, what's up, Lin M? Says he wants to distance himself from his Chinese people. He's from Brooklyn, like that makes him non-Chinese. Yeah, he's definitely cosplaying American Black, Pinky Wells. I wonder if he has Black children or half Black children, you know what I mean? Or has he managed to keep with just the Asian people? I'm curious about that. Since he's been in the culture so much, who has he been dating? Ben says, believe me, the Chinese ain't building that for no Africans. Only the Africans are dumb enough to believe that. It will be new South Africa with the Chinese moving in to take what's theirs. Yeah, it does seem like soon, relatively soon. In the next 10 to 20 years, is going to be some massive changes that's going to happen behind those debts. And that's why I believe that they're putting pressure on us to make us feel like we should become debt slaves to Africa. And it's like, nah, we ain't got nothing to do with that. Don't try to bound us to y'all goddamn debts. The fuck? Green Tom says, yeah, this is the reason I don't like him. X-Trap says, irony is the Chinese more Pan-Africans than the American panties. Well, they're doing a lot more in the short term for Africans, but for the long term, Chinese are doing it for themselves. And again, all these debts and everything that all these corrupt leaders have run off into the sunset with, put all their money in Swiss banks, America, UK, and all that. they're living their best life. They will be living their best life unless they are charged for what they're doing. And I don't believe they will be, but they think that we should be pliable to become pimped for what they're doing wrong down the road. And I don't like that notion. Don't try to include us in your bullshit talking about we family now. No, I'm not your family. I'm not the diaspora. I don't want to be a part of your debt. China is running game on y'all. And unfortunately, that's what y'all leaders decided to do. Pinky says, exactly, getting their new homeland ready for move-in. Pinky, you ain't right. X-Trap Rebel says, yep, China at least building something. Yeah, I give them credit that they're making Africa look better. But it's in the long term, like I said, it's gonna be China owning most of what they built. X-Trap says these Pan-Africans not going to go to Africa. Only visit. They only go to visit. They're not going to go and stay. They just like to make us feel a certain kind of way about us not wanting to visit. And it's our decision, our choice, isn't it? Just like you chose to take your asses over there, can't we choose to not decide to go? I wish they would leave, though, and shut the fuck up. I know that's right. Why do American pennies building in Africa like Mr. Beast did? Because they're hypocrites and they don't give a damn. It's about them making money off of us. Until we get that and understand that we are the people that is being preyed upon, vultured on, ate up and spat out as a menu of sorts, we're never going to get away from what Pan-Africans are attempting to do, which is manipulate us and make us do stupid shit that causes us to be indebted and lose a lot of money or get in a lot of trouble or lose our lives or become sick or become destituted or become refugee-like. That's what they would love to see us end up as, because then we'll be equal to a lot of global blacks. And that's the way that they see us. Why are you guys having a leg up? Because our ancestors died for that. They fought for that. They went to war for that. That's why. Why are you guys coming over here utilizing our rights? Because it's been provided for you, right? And you're using it. Ben says, Rebel, they building it for themselves. Look at the long game. It's chess. The whites in South Africa build, but who benefits? Why are blacks so short-sighted? I don't know. But again, I'm long-sighted. And I see the game that they're trying to play on us, trying to include us into their debt, talking about we family. What's that got to do with me? Your dad. Ben yourself, yep, I know. But that's the Africans' fault. That's what I'm saying. It's their fault. I'm not claiming any of their fault. Pinky says, always dancing. Yeah, and not planning and not strategizing and not thinking long term and not involving other Africans to go on the ground. Like they should be the ones leading the charge of Pan-Africanism, Africans in Africa, and the ones who have left should also be doing more. But where are they? Where are Africans doing what you've seen China Mac attempt to do? They're not nowhere to be seen. Lynn M says the Africans are very short-sighted. Africans don't see the long game. Nope. The Chinese are not Pan-African. I've lived in China, Ben says, for some years, and yet they despise Africans. Wow. The Chinese are cutthroat, even to themselves. Better wake up, Ben says. Hey, the long game is going to be sick with it. It's going to be a dreadful time. I just hope that I don't really see how bad off things get overall, but I might see some of it because we're seeing what's going on in America. It's not like we're spared from the changes of what globalization is doing. Globalization is really real, and it's also being more affected by this influx of immigration globally. So we see the cause and effect of globalization. And Pan-Africanism is trying to globalize Black Americans in debt to Africa. That's what they dream for us to have happen. That's their ideology of what they foresee for us as Americans. Green Tom says, because it's not worth to building in Africa for American. No, it's not worth us building anything in Africa if we're not living there, if we're not visiting there, if we don't want to be there. What is the benefit of us supposedly building? It doesn't make sense. And we have not built anything since the last time we built here in America. Why would I trust building in Africa? And I have never seen before my eyes building here in America since the years of old. So if I can't trust building here in America, why would I fix my mind to build or think that y'all could build in Africa? That's pretty stupid. It's simple, really. Ben says they're going from a white colonizer to an Asian one. How you fall for the same scam twice. The leaders, again, they make out like bandits. They create wealth for their families for generations, and they can't pass the test as far as doing right by their people. I'm sure that, I think Botswana, I don't know if Botswana is ran by Asian or not. Do you know, Easy X or Ben, how Botswana is? Because I hear a lot of good things about that particular country, but I'm not sure if it is or not. I need to research it more. Easy X says, I've seen this before, looks like peanuts. We used to give that out all the times, sometimes packets of oil and flour. That's not really anything to be, I don't know. If I was trying to hand out food, I don't think I would be handing out sugar, maybe flour. I think they like a lot of oil. I don't know. Len says he is giving out food. You would think these panties and these fleeing Africans would go black and help their people. They never do. They just talk shit. They just get online together and talk shit about us. That's all they do. That's all they're doing. Ben says, just like feeding monkeys at the zoo, they so damn lame and naive. Acts you gave your put food in Africa country. Oh, you're talking. All foreigners on Africa that are non-Black Americans are Pan-Africans, at least in action. Black American panties are worse than passport bros. Yeah, they are. He didn't get any. Yeah, he was mad. China Mac disrespects our community by cosplaying us, thinking he can use the N-word. He needs to sit down somewhere, Miss D says. I haven't paid attention to him that much, but I just saw what he was doing in this video, so I thought I would bring it out. Mr. KTMTHAMEL. I know a lot of Africans who tells me they get treated really good by Chinese people in China. Is that right? Well, when COVID happened, they weren't being treated very good. They were being treated as if they started the COVID. So I think when things get rough, China could turn on you in a drop of a dime. That's what I saw. Pinky says, ran out of food. No, he gotta fight. Yes, I worked for the NGO in Africa for 3 years. Oh, you did? You gotta tell us more about that, Easy Axe. Why do they need help? The fleeing Africans say they are so smart and work hard. Again, they want us to be feeling the brunt of what is happening in Africa for some strange reason. They really think that we deserve to feel what others are going through. That's what I've observed by what Pan-Africans are saying and what some Africans say. That's what I've been seeing and feeling. Ben says, did you see how the Chinese kicked the Africans out of housing? Yeah, when the COVID happened, they got them homeless real quick. So I'm going to move on because I have a lot of other videos that I want to talk about, and I'll go back to those videos or the comments a little bit later. But I don't know if you guys know of this dude by the name of Luluma. He is a Pan-African. And he'd be on Dynasty Mir's platform. He goes by Lulumba Speaks. Well, him and Afro Elite had a debate. And I wanted to play a little bit of the debate because I thought it was telling what I'm saying, that Pan-Africanism is nothing more than talk, yapping, educated fools. You could be educated and still be fools. A lot of these people claim they've been in school, they got all these degrees, they got all these books, look at all these things I've read, oh, I know this, oh, I can do this, oh. But they don't do nothing in real life. They don't do shit in real life, but they be squawking about their education. That's what Pan-Africans do. They think their education is supposed to make up for the work that it takes to be on the ground, but there is no allegiance to be on the ground for us as Americans. It should be the Africans and the Pan-Africans that feel some kind of way because it's their ideology. It's not ours. It's their thinking and claiming they want to go do. But here is a debate that I was interested in getting a response to. I think that you guys would find this interesting. This is the Pan-African right here. Lumumba speaks. He's long-winded as fuck. He's annoying as hell. Got all his books. Look at all the books. Oh, I'm so smart. I'm so educated. I'm a professor. Oh, I teach. Oh. And here is the FBA guy who is a staunch writer for Tariq Nasheed. I find him to be kind of interesting sometimes on what he talks about, but let's just listen to this.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, and I appreciate that rundown. Appreciate the rundown. You know, everyone who gets to meet you and know get your backstory. So, where are you located? Of course, I think people may want to know that as well.
Oh, Chicago.
Okay, Chi-Town, shout out to Cook County.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've been to Chi on numerous occasions. One of my good friends used to live in Chicago, so very good. So we're going to get into the conversation. As you know, we're going to have a conversation about FBA, ADOS, and of course, Pan-Africanism, right? I am, of course, a Pan-Africanist. I've been so for about the past 2 decades. I am also, by definition, FBA, ADOS. I am an African American. People ask me all the time, well, how do you have the name Bakari Lumumba? It's because I changed my name about 15 years ago. Part of the reason for that was, of course, as we know, we have what Malcolm would call slave names, right? And the name that I have is representative of course, the legacy of colonialism, imperialism, racism, and, of course, slavery. And I knew that when I had children, I have 2, that I would not want them to carry on the legacy of having a Western European name as their surname and who they are. So I actually gave my son.
A lot of these people think that getting a name, getting education, reading a book, right, watching a movie, somehow makes you closer to being African. It doesn't make sense to me, but okay.
African name before I haven't even changed my name myself. And so one thing my son always tells me is that, you know, I'm very proud of the fact that you did that, right? Even Tupac stated that he was pretty proud of the fact that he had a African name. He would always state that as a result, he was liberated from the womb, right? And that we know oftentimes when we talk about the socialization of Black children and Black people, what tends to happen is that we have to go through this process of, I'm talking about digressing theory, where there's some type of situation that allows you to wake up and realize that anti-Blackness and white supremacy is real, right? But many people argue, such as myself, that doesn't have to necessarily be the case, right? If you're raised with a sense of course, critical consciousness from birth, you don't have to have an awakening, right? You don't have to have an epiphany to where all of a sudden at the tender age of 20 or 25 or 30, you come into being knowledgeable of course, anti-Blackness and white supremacy.
Yes, very much so.
So now we're going to get into the conversation. So FBA, ADOS, Pan-Africanism. I wanted to have this conversation because oftentimes when I am, of course, a Pan-Africanist, and I am critical of Pan-Africanism. Actually, this is a not so innocent plug. My master's thesis was entitled, "Is Pan-Africanism Dead?" right? So as a Pan-Africanist,
his master thesis. Here we go. My master thesis. I'm so smart. I've taken this to the whole entire level that you can take this on. I know my Pan-Africanism. Let's go.
I am a vociferous critic of Pan-Africanism, and in my thesis, I actually line out why I believe that Pan-Africanism has lost its efficacy with Black people, not only on the continent, but in the Caribbean, of course, here in North America as well. So we're going to get your position on, of course, FBA, ADOS, and of course, your thoughts on Pan-Africanism as well.
Well, I feel like there's a difference between FBA and ADOS.
Okay, please.
Okay, so originally the term ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, was coined by Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. And it was the term in and of itself, and I'm not necessarily going to speak on the character of Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, but the thing is that since they came up with the term, they said that they were the leaders of ADOS, and they're like the mothers.
And for those who don't know who FBA or ADOS is, it is a lineage supposed to be based off of social media people. Yvette Carnell is the co-author or co-founder of ADOS, which is American Descendants of Slavery. That's supposed to signify who the people are that's just known to be in America, that does not have no other ties to other landmass, such as the Caribbeans who come over here. They have a tie to the Caribbean island. So just as other Africans come over to America, they have other ties to Africa. We, as the people that have never known Africa, yeah, you may say 400, 500 years ago, you might have had a lone ancestor from Africa, possibly because they were other Black Americans, or not Black Americans, but Black Indians, they were called, in America at the time. That was discovered by Columbus. And there were supposedly other Aboriginal types of people that were here too. So I don't know who all were here. I just believe that there were a lot more than what the storyline is telling us. I don't believe that 12 million Africans came from wooden boats. Where did they store all that water and food? The realization of them being able to pull that off, I really don't buy it. I believe that is a stretch story, but nonetheless, our identity, the indigenous Black Americans, I would like to call us, people that don't have other ties to other lands, like that. Like, I came from Kenya, I came from the Jamaica, I came from Haiti, my people came from Haiti, my people came from Africa. I can't say that myself personally. People that's indigenous to America can't really say that with your chest poked out like others can say that, because they have a language. They have a culture, they have their heritages, they have their foods, they have their customs, they have their traditions, and all the other thing. We, as indigenous Black Americans, we can't say any of that. The people that pretend like they can say that because they went and got educated are just educated fools like he is right here. Let's go.
Father of ADOS, so they turned
and FBA is Foundational Black American. It's another social media lineage that was founded by Tariq Nasheed, who has done books or series on movies, Hidden Colors, and other things that he's written and done. And he's kind of like made a lot of money off of the FBA. That's seemingly becoming into a grift, in my opinion, because he's the only one that's really banking on this so-called lineage. I think it's necessary to have your own identity as an indigenous Black Americans, because the government has been naming us and changing our names every 40 or so years. And we don't want to have this ever happen again without our consent to the name change. That's why there's been a creation of ADOS and FBA, for those who don't know, and a creation of me calling myself Indigenous Black American, so I can distinguish myself from an immigrant who has migrated over here versus someone like me who doesn't know any other land mass, so that you guys can understand where this debate is going and why they're different. He's different because he believes himself to be more indigenous Black American, and he believes that, you know, you're from the transatlantic slave trade, you're a slave of old, this Pan-African notion that we should be a part of, which he doesn't live by, but he preaches on and teaches on with his educated fool ass. Let's go.
Kind of into an organization in a group about policy.
Okay.
So that's kind of, and I used to identify as ADOS, and I guess you can still say that, but I don't use that term because number two is because I believe that the terminology is a little bit flawed, because the reason why we I would identify as FBA, the reason why we do that is because we are differentiating ourselves from a very specific lineage. Only our people have a very specific lineage as far as building the country, you know, and being a part of this country from its very foundation. When you say American descendants of slavery and you use words in that weird framing, then you get to invite, or other people can argue that they are ADOS, American descendants of slavery, even if they're not tied to the lineage of American chattel slavery. You know what I'm saying? As an example, you can have Jamaicans, and there was slavery in Jamaica. There was slavery in a lot of countries as well too. They can say, well, I'm an American and I am a descendant of slavery. It doesn't specify which slavery. So,
just if I could, I don't know anyone who would say they were American if they were from another country, right? So
but that's not true. There's plenty of people that's claiming to be American from other countries. There's people that's telling us, though, as the indigenous Black Americans, that we should not be claiming ourselves as American. Like, if we do so, we are somehow disrespecting elders or ancestors that were treated unkind by African traders and others that history claims. But, you know, we don't want to focus on Africans. We want to focus on what we call ourselves, because that is the issue. Let them tell it. Our issue is not accepting being somebody else that we never called ourselves that before. Like, if I was calling myself African American when I was born, perhaps you could have pulled off this over my eyes. But because I was born with Black on my birth certificate and I was always known as a Black American, you can't come and now slip African American and then years later now say, now you're African. That's what they're trying to do right now. That's what Pan-Africans are trying to do. That's what people that take these tests, these DNA kit tests, are calling themselves trying to do. Now they want to claim, oh, I found myself. I'm a $5 African. I know who I am. I was so lost for so many years. All this time I've been in America. I don't know what the fuck I've been doing, but I'm confused, I guess. Call me something else. Let's go.
I don't get, like, if a person is from Jamaica, we know they had slavery in Jamaica, Barbados, everywhere, right, in the Western world. That to me would be nonsensical for the person then to say, well, because I'm a descendant of slavery in the Western world, I could claim that I'm an American descendant of slavery. That to me makes no sense whatsoever.
But we're finding that many people are claiming our identities. We are seeing that. I didn't know that this was the truth until being on social media and hearing people call themselves African and Black Americans, and they're clearly from somewhere else. So yeah, they will come and hijack your identity. And that is why we've been wanting to make a distinction of our name so that people that are migrants or immigrants or illegals can't somehow share the name of us, because then that makes our identity bastardized. And that's what they're trying to do right now. And that's why the movement of FBA and ADOS, I think it's needed, but I wish it was more of a real organization that I could have faith in what they're doing and how they're moving and how they're trying to have other people get involved to solidify the name on the outside of social media. Since that hasn't been done, I don't have faith in any one of those two particular groups. That's why I declare myself as Indigenous Black American.
Yeah, and it would be very unlikely for that to happen until we get to the point where we're getting slavery reparations. Then when
I would say this, and that you're right on it. But then what tends to happen is whenever a particular group is getting any type of benefits, everyone tries to say that somehow they're connected. So
no, ain't no everyone. Ain't nobody ever try to claim CARICOM. Nobody's ever trying to claim anything from Africa like that until Africans start talking about they want reparations. We're like, hold on, you're the one that was enslaving fools. The fuck you talking about? You are owed reparations when you were a business partner with these people. But anyways, I digress. Let's go.
Just be Black folk from the Caribbean, right?
Yes, of course, yeah.
We even saw when Native Americans were getting some benefits. You had what was known as the $5 Indian. White folks started paying money to get those, right? So this is just something that people do. They see some type of benefits, they try to jump on it, backdoor their way in. So
yes, you're correct. You're very correct on that. Which is why I feel like the terminology that we use needs to be so airtight, because what would happen is if we allow certain terminology like African American to exist, a lot of people, like for instance, even Elon Musk can say, hey, technically I am an African American now when it comes to the benefits of being an African American, because where is the
Pan-Africans, as you see him shaking his head, does not want us to have our own identity. They really, truly want to use us up as a sacrificial lamb for everybody else's gain and not our own. He's all, what is there? Why is there such a big issue about us having our own identity that we claim our own self? Because it is political. It's political identity politics. That's what he's on. Globalizing the Black American to the one world order is what he's on. Pan-Africanism is a global situation, is what they're attempting to do with their ideology. This is why I'm against it, because it's the one world order. It's globalization, is colonization, just like Frederick Douglass had warned us in the lessons of the hour. And I have already shown that video time and time again about him talking about the desire of the American Colonization Society to so-called repatriate people to Africa, to Liberia. And what ended up happening with that, it didn't end well. But they paid for it for those people to go back, about 13,000 of them. And this was sanctioned or done so by the government. But Frederick Douglass was against it. He was like, we're American. We're not trying to go anywhere but be where we built. And Pan-Africanism is against us feeling that way anymore. They're trying to pry us away from America while accepting immigrants as being American. Make that make sense, y'all. Let's go.
Miss Tess. There's a lot of articles saying that Elon Musk is an African American, actually.
Who said that?
There's a lot of articles, and people make jokes about it because he's from Africa and he's an American.
Well,
so he can make the argument, because the term African American doesn't require you to be tied to American chattel slavery. That's not like a requirement of that.
It does.
It's implied, but that's not a requirement for you to say I'm an African American.
Well, and here's the thing, right? One, the term African American, of course, originally originated with the term Afro American. That started not with Malcolm X, but T. Thomas Fortune. Right, so we're talking about almost at the turn of the 20th century. The second issue is, irrespective of what terminology a person uses, when it comes to getting actual benefits, you have to be able to prove your lineage. So you could call yourself an FBA, you could call yourself AR-15. What it comes down to is you have to be able to trace your genealogy. Right, and so I give an example. You have many Black people who claim that somehow they're Indians, right? But when you go to any of the Native American nations, right? You have to be able to prove it by actually tracing your genealogy. So it doesn't matter what term you use, right? The proof is in the devil is in the details. And if you can't trace your genealogy, then you're SOL.
Well, I mean, and I understand that part. I understand that. However, I would give slight pushback to that because I believe that terminology is very important. If we know, like, for instance, the history of affirmative action, when affirmative action was specifically meant for our people, and then they slipped the term in minority. Then next thing you know, anybody and everybody can classify as a minority. So if they say these reparations are...
And this has definitely happened. We have got shortcutted out of our own civil rights, got boxed out of our own civil rights, and we see the results of how immigrants are now utilizing rights that they have, their ancestors never earned, never fought, never died for, never seen dogs sicked on them, never had water hoses pulled out on them, never had crosses burning on their lawn, never got hung, never got shot, never had all these different things happen to them. But yet they could just waltz in illegally and now get rights that were reserved and preserved for us that we earned. Just like that, saying that they're minorities, say that they're Black, say we're refugees, asylum seekers, needing rights, say that we're gay, being persecuted. They just waltz in and use our rights. That's what they have done. And we're confused on the fact that we have been used and spat out, and we're continually being used over and over and over again, being bypassed deliberately, ignored intentionally. And we got these motherfuckers, Pan-Africans in our face, telling us to worry about Africa. Okay?
Typically meant for our people, and then they slip the term in minority. Then next thing you know, anybody and everybody can classify as a minority. So if they say these reparations are for Black people or these reparations are for minorities, then other people can make the argument that, hey, well, technically I fit in the category of what you described these reparations are for, just like with affirmative action. So we're trying to kind of stop that problem before we get to it by clearing up the terminology by saying, okay, well, we know you're Black, we're Black, but you don't have the lineage that we have, so we want to have a specific...
Us singularly claiming Black is a detriment. We have got to claim and cleave to the word American, and that's what they fear the most. Pan-Africans fear the most, that we claim American, because that means that we want to belong where we are. And it's a political push that they're trying to pull on us, using us as a pawn in the scheme and scope of globalization and colonization, and trying to use us as the pawn, Black Americans, indigenous to America. This is why all the attention always brought to us. Everything that goes on wrong with the world is brought to us. We ain't got nothing to do with none of this stuff, and it's still brought to us. They still want to know our opinion. They want to know what we doing, how we feeling, what's going on with us. It's like, don't you got other people that you can bother and pester?
Big term for our specific lineage.
And I think they actually do. It's from African American people who aren't African Americans, they're Jamaican Americans, Brazilian Americans, Honduran Americans, etc. But the issue is, in order to get
they know it, but they don't use it. When applications and censuses come out, they play dumb. They forgot the other part. They can simply write in what they are and other. But they didn't want to use that. So they just started using Black and African American. Now you don't even know. We don't even really know how many indigenous Black Americans are actually here because of this on purpose hijacking of our identity. This is what I've been talking about. This is what I've been saying. We need to do a declaration of our own identity. We need to try to get them to change our identity so that, you know, there is a distinction. I'm not quite sure if FBA and ADOS is going to really remedy what they claim. That's just my perception. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
The proposed reparations or benefits, it's going to come down not to the terminology that you use, but to being able to prove your genealogy. Irrespective of what, you can have a person go up there and say they FBA, but when it comes to getting those specific benefits, you have to be able to prove your genealogy. It's not based on terminology, it's based on genealogy, right? For example, I have life insurance, right? So, and yes, I have passed away. Hopefully not, right? And not anytime soon, hopefully 50 years from now, right?
No, yeah, hopefully not.
Right. And I have my children on my life insurance. Now, someone else can show up and say, hey, I'm Bakari Lumumba's child. Okay, right. And guess what they're going to have to prove? They're going to have to prove it through genealogy. Right? Irrespective of what they say, they could change their name and say, my name is Blank Lumumba. But they're going to have to prove it through genealogy. Irrespective of the terminology that's used, it's going to come down to what? Genealogy. And so I think that's what's most important, because to me, it's surface level. Like FBA, ADOS, that's surface level. Right? Whenever it comes down to getting any type of benefits for any group of people, we can talk about the Japanese Americans who were interned in concentration camps, right? Internment camps. We can talk about Jewish people who got reparations from the German nation state during the Jewish Holocaust in Germany during World War II. Right? They had to prove, they couldn't just say, hey, I'm Jewish. They have to prove their lineage through genealogy. Right? So you had a lot of people who all over the world, they show up doing that. Kind of show up and say, hey.
The good thing about having the claim of FBA or ADOS is a sense of pride, though, for the ones that do believe in it, because there's power in naming yourself. Just even think about the transgender people who have declared they are another sex. They have garnered some perceived degree of power because of that declaration. The government supports it. They get rights realized to them. It's been a force used for their benefit. There's power in naming yourself, especially if a people never, ever named themselves. This is why our identity is so attacked, because they do know that there's power in naming yourself.
I'm one of those people, we know we probably done that before, right? It might be something innocuous, right? You at school and they say, hey, if you made the such and such list, you could get such and such. You try to show up and be there. Then what they do, they go back and look at the paperwork and say, you didn't make the honor roll at the third quarter. Get out of here, right? So I think, so when it comes down to, in my opinion, of course, my opinion is going to come down to what? The devil's in the details. That's going to come down to, of course, lineage and, of course, genealogy. A person will call themselves whatever they want. We know that in certain communities, people call themselves men when they're actually women, right? And when it comes down to it, what? When they open up that body, guess what that body is biologically? You see what I'm saying? So that's my position, to where that's more so surface level. It doesn't change the reality of who or what, of course, you are.
Well, and I understand that. I do, but I do believe that terminology and the words that we use is a little bit more important, because that will sway the way the reparations conversation goes in the first place. Because it's not like an agreed upon thing that reparations is going to be lineage based. Remember, I'm not sure if you are aware, but California just had a reparations committee, and they were arguing whether reparations should be race-based or whether reparations should be lineage-based. If we use the terminology that's not specifically for lineage-based, when we're even having the conversation about reparations, if we use, inclusive terminology when we're having the conversation about reparations, then once the paperwork is signed
and then being that inclusive means boxing yourself out, like I said, putting other people ahead of you. And that's what we've been doing in this civil rights bullshit with minorities and people of color and all these other people being able to be included in our category has really disallowed us from having our own voices and our own narrative. And now our own so-called leaders have abandoned us and have went on the immigration train. This is what we're seeing happening right before our eyes in real time. All over the place, immigration.
Everything is agreed, before they pass the checks out, we can't say, okay, well, now we want to make sure that this is exclusive. So we have to make sure the terminology is the same from the beginning to the end. So that's my opinion.
I would argue that the terminology already exists in this African American. Right? African Americans are black people, descendants of Africa, who are what? Descendants of Africans who were what? Victims of chattel enslavement. Now,
he want to keep that government name on us. He want to keep us kept as little sheeple. The Pan-African bitch ass nigga. Okay?
we have other black people who come to this country. The Sudanese American, Japanese, Jamaican Americans, or whatever. But the other issue is, and it should be lineage based. I would agree with you right there, once again. However, that's going to come down to the bill stating a person has to prove their lineage going back so many generations. If they just put on the bill FBA, that means nothing. It's going to come down to the devil being, of course, in the details. Right?
Yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah, so with that being said, there's been a number of individuals, and I mean, I don't think you're one, but I've seen this, that have made some claims that I would argue are intellectually dishonest and disingenuous about, of course, Pan-Africanism. As I said before, I am a Pan-Africanist. My master's thesis was, of course, entitled, Is Pan-Africanism Dead? The efficacy, questioning the efficacy of Garveyism in the age of globalism. However, when
and before he even gets going, it is dead. It never existed. It's a figment of imagination. It is the fantasies of so-called educational people, educational fools. Okay, the real reality of the ground of Africa is desperation, running out of time and options. That's what's going on. There ain't no saving over there that we as a people can do for other people other than to sacrifice ourselves for them. And that's not what we are wanting to do. We're not willing and wanting to sacrifice ourselves for other people. We want to survive as well. We want to live like everybody else is trying to get somewhere to live. Why can't we decide what we want to do to live and how we want to be? People want to take that chance and right from us as indigenous Black Americans. And y'all going to see this as time goes on. It takes a while to show and rear its ugly head, but it's going to happen. And you can see the writing on the wall. You can see the signs that's coming, the bells whistling. Only fools that are not paying attention are the ones that are losing out on what I'm saying.
People making arguments against Pan-Africanism, they typically are making arguments about Pan-Africanism that are just patently false. So I'll give some examples. One I saw, and you probably follow this brother on YouTube, but he was making a claim that Pan-Africanism is based on your geographic location, which was completely false. That has never been the case throughout the history of Pan-Africanism, right? And we even trace the origin of Pan-Africanism to the Trinidadian barrister, Henry Sylvester Williams, who coined the term with the help of course, Miss Kinlock, who was a South African Black woman who was living, of course, in England. And so we know Pan-Africanism was something that was created. Was created in London.
Pan-Africanism is an extension of, again, colonization from London. That's what it is. Colonization from London. The first Pan-African conference was in London. It was allowed to have happened because they promoted it.
By what? Black people here in the Western world, right? They also made an argument that, of course, to be a Pan-Africanist, you have to put the issues of Africa at the lead in issues and whatever.
And that's dumb. How can we put Africa at the lead of us surviving here in America? That means that our survival is secondary to the survival of Africa. We have nothing to do with the survival of Africa because we're not connected. So why are we trying to connect ourselves to that scenario? That's what Pan-Africans are trying to force us to have to do against our will. Okay?
Geopolitical state you are in on the back burner. Once again, that is something that is wholly inaccurate. Pan-Africanism argues and teaches that, of course, any type of anti-Blackness that you are facing, irrespective of where you are in the world, is linked to a global system of anti-Blackness. And that wherever we are in the world, we should be working with other Black people, if possible, to build political, social, and economic power, right? And so my question is, hey, I don't have an issue with places out of Pan-Africanists, right? We have black people who practice a number of political ideologies. If it's integrationalism, if it's, of course, even conservatism. But the arguments people are making about Pan-Africanism, of course, many people aren't as well read about Pan-Africanism as I, but they're just patently false. I even saw Tariq Nasheed was claiming, well, Frederick Douglass, he didn't want to repatriate. He was talking about we're really just Americans. And so this is what I would call lying by omission. There was a reason.
That's what he said in the lessons of the hour. So that is the truth. So you don't know what you're talking about, Alamba. Okay?
Frederick Douglass took that position. It's because Frederick Douglass was an integrationalist. Frederick Douglass wasn't a black nationalist. He wasn't someone who was an advocate for black power. In fact, his contemporary at the time, who we worked with on the North Star newspaper, the father of black nationalism, Martin Delaney, stated that what? He said, Frederick Douglass said, well, I'm proud that I'm a black man. And Frederick Douglass said, I'm proud that God simply made me a man. And Martin Delaney wrote him back and said, well, I'm glad.
We don't care about the word black like that. We shouldn't be caring about the word black. And he's trying to put black as that's our buzzword to, be hypnotized under. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. That word was created by the government. Okay. That does not turn away me from being American first. This is where I was born. This is all that I know. I'm American first. Don't try to slip that black card on me, because that was a governmental term given to us anyways. Does not mean anything. It's a category. A bastardized category. That's always been that way.
God made me a black man. And Frederick Douglass complained because they were trying to raise money for the North Star newspaper. And Martin Delaney's rhetoric, which of course was rooted in, of course, black nationalism, black pride, and of course the audacious black tradition of audacious self-assertion. He said, well, the white folk don't like this. And Martin Delaney said, I could care not what white people think about what I say right or do. That's your problem. So once again, okay, we're taking this argument, but you're not giving the full context of why Frederick Douglass gave that position. It was because he was an integrationalist, right? Now we can fast forward 100 years later. Martin Luther King was
we are integrationalists now. You're integrated into America, living in America, Lulumba speaks. If you feel like you don't want to be a part of America, you could simply get on an airplane and go to Africa or go to the Caribbean or go wherever. No one is holding you hostage. But he's trying to say, that's what he wanted to do. And as a result of that, this is where we are today. This is where we are today. It doesn't take nothing away from that.
Probably the greatest, most well-known black integrationists that we've known politically, right, in African American history. However, Dr. King had enough sense to know that on March 9th, 1957, when Ghana was the first black nation to gain independence from colonialism in Africa, Dr. King and his acolytes had their monkey behinds in Accra, Ghana, and stated that what's going on here is connected to what we're dealing with back home, because this is a global system of anti-blackness that we're fighting against.
Mm-hmm. I'm not exactly sure about the statements that you heard, but I have heard statements against Pan-Africanism, and I've heard arguments against Pan-Africanism. I believe the best way to describe what should be instead of Pan-Africanism is what I would call, and of course I didn't coin this term, but I would say that this is what should be is a black first mentality. A mentality that we as black people globally throughout the world, we put our blackness first, and the black race is the priority in the progression and empowerment of the black race.
But that's Pan-Africanism, and it does not exist. So he's even confused. Where does it exist in Africa, Jamaica, Haiti? Where does that exist even here in America? Where are these immigrant people that have unified with us all this time? It has never, ever happened. So talking about this global black is just a figment of thinking, of dreaming, of posing, all these different things, because that's not a reality that's attainable in the climate that we're in. It's not reality. It's not ever going to be like that. There's Mary Poppins not going to show up and make the world a better place and happy with black folks everywhere. That's not going to be. So can't we get on with what's happening in real time versus what we wish for and dream about?
That's what Pan-Africanism is.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
I mean, Marcus Garvey, who was the most successful Pan-Africanist in the modern era, the concept of his movement was race first.
He was successful, fraudulent fraudster is what Marcus Garvey was. There's nothing absolutely, look at how dumb he looks. Absolutely nothing that Marcus Garvey did that benefited Black Americans other than taking from them and selling them hopes and dreams of going somewhere where they never went. And did he do like mail fraud or something like that? He went to jail. He got deported. He's not no hero of ours. So what is he talking about? But this is what we got going on. That's the educated fool right there. He's so educated. I'm gonna go back up. Yes, they, while simultaneously disrespecting us, that's what they do all the time. Thank you for coming through, Gene Harvey. What is Pan-Africanism? A figment of imagination, dreams of global blackness, everybody getting along, everybody nice and respectful, everybody never crossing lines, and tribalism got dissolved away, and all of us think in terms of everything black, and we love everybody, and everything is good with the world, and the world is right with us. That's not reality. That's a fantasy that's been created, and people want us to pretend like that's something that we can acquire. But the climate of what we're dealing with on the ground everywhere says otherwise. You said FBA was created because Yvette and Tone would not let Tariq lead ADOS. That's what you think? I thought that he kind of like learned from ADOS and decided to just grift from it, a spinoff from it, and it worked. I didn't expect for it to take off like it did, but it did. Dean Claude Anderson came up with the FBA ideology, not Tariq. Oh, okay. Thank you for that, Ben. FBA has no leaders. It's just a name of a lineage, like there are no leaders for the Mexicans or Puerto Ricans. Yeah, I got that part, but he is a leader as far as getting money from using that name, from using that museum, from having a march or a gathering for reparations. He's got a GoFundMe. He got all kinds of stuff that he's able to make money off of this and make money off of that. He's making a hell of a bank off of FBA. So he's marketed it very, very well. It's unfortunate that, it's not turning to other people to be blessed as well. It's just him. Pinky Wells says, and now these anchor babies and Africans calling themselves FBA. It's sad. It's like we can't have nothing on our own. It's like we never bum rush y'all shit. Leave us alone already. Tyron, what's up? How you doing? $5 Africans, never heard that one before. They are. But they swear the kit, they found their home. They know they're home now. I'm home in Africa. Ms. D says even ADOS and FBA new black media want to call African and Caribbean black. I know it's hard to shake. It's hard to shake because people have been telling us to do that for a long, long time. And they definitely have been disrespecting us as they deem fit. Yes, it is, sister. You can tell this because they never come at African and Caribbean this way. No, they never do, Gene Harvey. They only come for Black Americans. That's why I say we are definitely a targeted people. And I try to say that to people and they're looking at me crazy. Both Yvette and Tariq push flat blackness. We all the same to them, which is major fail for both of them. Exactly. They speak in the same language. We're not the same. We're trying to fight for an identity that's distinct from all the other peoples that come over here. Is it okay for us to stand in our own feet and call ourselves what we want to call ourselves? I mean, isn't it time for us to do that? Easy X says, even those in the chat feel that we are the same. I hope not. I never called myself African American, neither have I, Pinky. Always Black American. I've been schooled. I'm American who is Black. We are American. I wish it was so easy to make people feel the way that you just said that. If only I could just reach out and touch y'all. Zap-a-doo-doo-doo. Easy Acts are not the same. We're not the same. We don't have the same mindset, the same intentions, the same goals. People are trying to maneuver globally to get in a better position from where they come from. They're trying to take our positions and trying to squeeze us out. They're not trying to unify. They're trying to compete. And Pan-Africanism can't exist when you have all these things going on. But for people to pretend like it's not happening, it's not a globalization that's trying to happen. It's not an attempt on our colonization of us, and our identity is not trying to happen. Pan-Africanism is not problematic. I have a problem with people like that. We are not the same, and the Africans make sure to delineate from us anytime they get a degree in something, but they don't mind dumping their degeneracy on us. Exactly, Gene. That's all they do. Whenever they become famous, I'm the first Nigerian American. But when they are fucking up, piling on African American term or Black American, or they're Black, the Black man over here performed this crime, they need to make sure they say Jamaican, American, Nigerian American, good or bad. What's wrong with that? Good or bad, claim your own name that is connected to you. That's all we're saying. I don't see why that's so hard for people to understand, but people are trying to play dumb because they've been utilizing benefits and using us to the detriment of us, and they don't want us to stop being that. You said, where is this guy from? I'm not sure. And I don't think there will be no reparations either. I really don't think so. They are showcasing boldly in our faces how they don't give a flying fuck about our existence. They have given so much money for so many other causes to just put it in our faces how they really are not giving a flying fuck. And for people to still assume that reparations is possible in the climate of disrespect is alarming to me. Ukraine got paid, Israel got paid, immigrants from Venezuela, Africa, Caribbeans are getting paid. What have we got paid outside of what others have not? Everybody else got paid. We're not getting anything, but still we run with reparations first. I think it's a cop-out to lead with reparations. That's a way of not being mad about other stuff that's going on about us. It's kind of our own given, escape from reality. Talking about reparations, a dream. That's the same equivalency, I would believe, like Pan-Africanism is to assume that reparations is very much possible. I think if we would focus on other things first, our identity, especially trying to make that solidified in conjunction with talking about reparations is kind of, I don't know, pointless. But it's an escape that people are utilizing to not do nothing or say nothing out of the ordinary. You said, I know who Afro Elite is. Who is this other guy and where is he from and his family from? I'm not sure where he's from, but his name is Lalumba. He is a Pan-African, supposedly educated in that type of ideology. And he is always yapping about it and arguing with people. Pretty soon you're going to hear them argue and get unruly. It's just starting off. But you also said, but we have already done that, sister, on several occasions, and they only come over here and show great disdain for us. Yes, they do. I didn't notice until recent, about the last 3 years I've been noticing. We need to push delineation. Delineation is not tied to reparations. We need and want delineation. We want our own ethnic group. That's exactly what I want, even more so than talks of reparations, to be honest with you. We need our own ethnic group. And it should not include all other people that have their identity already. It just doesn't make no damn sense. Yes, we have no connection to Africa, but they're trying to force it on us. Why aren't these Pan-Africans people are never talking to Africa about this? Why aren't these They don't ever talk about too much of what's going on with Africa. They just want to paint it in a good light for us to try it out. Everybody's so focused on us trying out Africa that they forget about the problems of Africa because they're trying to sell us Africa too much. Africans who have escaped or fled from Africa don't put Africans first. Exactly, Lynn, but they want us to put Africans ahead of us. It's the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. I really feel sometimes like I'm dreaming, like you guys have really got me fucked up. We are foundational Black Americans. We are indigenous Black Americans. Because like I say, Gene, if something ever happens to Tariq Nasheed, or if that group is labeled a hate group, I don't want no ties to foundational Black American. I'd rather be what I want to call myself and what I declare myself to be. But I understand what you mean. Here online, I guess you could say, foundational to America. Why should we see Black as a nasty word? The only reason why I would say Black is a nasty word because everybody's using it. So there's no distinction. And like I said, we're fighting to have our own ethnic group. And people don't want us to have our own ethnic group. They want us to be slaved for everybody else's situation and keep us bound to that. Easy acts, these educated panties play on our emotions and use big words to try and sway the conversation to pro-Pan-Africanism. It works for those on the fence. I'm never impressed with big words. I don't care. What are you saying? And does it make sense? That's what I care about. Afro Elite is a flat blackness panty. He sounds like he is a Pan-African. So he could be the other guy's like buddy. Lynn M says, we are Americans who are Black. Americans first and Black second. Neither one of the above equal African or Africans. Yes, you're right. And there's no offense to the people that are listening that are African. I hope you guys don't take it offensively. But I'm sure you are, because y'all want your cake and eat it too. For the ones that are offended, you have your own identity. They have never allowed Black Americans to have our own identity. We thought all this time we had our own identity, to come to find out that everybody that comes over here has been using our identity to benefit themselves and then go use their own identity when it suits them. So they're double and triple dipping sometimes with the minority name and all that. We started seeing and hearing tales of what people are saying about the usage of African American, and we realized, and it dawned on us, wow, people are using our identity and pimping it, and thus making us not have really a true identity that is an ethnic group that's belonging to us, to have our own pride about who we are here in America. We have our own lineage here, history here, goals here that we want to have happen. We want attention brought to our cause again. Somehow along the way, we lost our voice, and now it's being muffled with other people's claims and agendas over ours. And we have lost our own civil rights battle. It's been snatched from us, hijacked. It's not right. What's up, Four Rivers? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. These educated panties. Okay, I said that. Luluma just told Afro Elite that he is a panty. Exactly. He didn't sound no different. That Pan-African twist in the words, Douglas and King, MLJK was American, not a panty. Exactly. They're trying to say because they talked about Africa once or twice that made them a Pan-African. Just any little thing. Any little thing. Ma'am, I respectfully disagree with you. Okay, you could disagree. I'm listening without emotions. Okay. Is this guy Caribbean talking about Marcus Garvey? Garvey never went to Africa. Exactly. He never went. He claimed he was going to go. He claimed he had a ship or something that never left. You are flat blackness fence sitter. Gene must be Pan-African. He must have came over here to hear the good news about Pan-Africanism. No flat blackness on this channel. Your slogans are emotional. And what is flat blackness? Your slogans are emotional? Slogans? I don't know what that means. Okay, I don't know what that means. You are new here. Sit back, listen, and learn. No, he can have an opinion. I'm not tripping off of anyone. As long as he's not cussing me out or anything like that, I don't care. Gene says, instead of deflecting with asinine slogans, just answer the question, or do you not have one? What are you talking about? Anyways, I don't want to waste my time with a panty. Okay, you guys are arguing. Why are you two so triggered? Why are you not intellectual conversation? Do you guys have anything intelligible to say? You're not saying anything intelligible at all so far. I'm still waiting. Yes, the immigrants should keep their original names that establish where they came from. Yes, when they do crimes, they are Black Americans, and when they succeed, they claim their culture, their countries. Yes, they do. What's up, Ben? He said he's a Black American. People are calling FBA a hate group. They're already saying it, and I'm suspecting that in the next 2-3 years, if Tariq stays where he's at with all this tether talk, why won't the FBI possibly label FBA a hate group? That's already what so-called immigrants have been calling themselves, claiming that it's a hate group, is Islamophobic. They're trying to get that to stick now. So 2 to 3 years, come on. Let me see. When I send Tariq money, I get a DVD or deodorant, just like when I go to Walmart. Well, what I'm saying is he's making his business situations through the FBA, and everybody is, going through him, and he's just making a lot of money. I'm just saying that I cannot imagine how much money he's done garnered over the last 3 years, but it has to be $1 million or more, I would guess, because it will be no need to cuss you out because we think differently, sister. I think overall the goal is the same, to be successful and free from madness. My vantage point, though, is American mind first. There's a lot of homelessness where I live. There's a lot of broken families where America has saturated our community with madness. And we need some attention more than what we're getting. And we're being bypassed in, short term and long term. And somehow we need to remember who we are, because people are trying to make us seem like we're worthless, and that claiming to be an American is a futile thing to do. But that's all we've ever been. And that's not cool for people to try to tell us that what we think on is wrong, that how we feel about ourselves is somehow sick and mental. Like, who does this? I've been living my whole life, and then suddenly the last few years I've been hearing I'm sick and mental because I don't feel the way you feel about Pan-Africanism or about your identity changing to African. The fuck's going on here? It's crazy. Pinky, I don't have to follow someone to buy their products. I do every day in Walmart. I get something for the money I spend. Have you tried his products, Ben? Which ones do you like? tell me more. I'm not buying it, but just tell me more. But why would you want them to, sister? I don't know what you mean by that. I'm not asking nobody to cuss me out. I'm just saying, as long as you're not rude, I don't care what you say in the chat room, to be honest. Are you guys ever questioning any other entity that don't even bother to pander to you that you spend your money on? Okay, Lynn says they come to America, use Black American civil rights scholarships programs, and claim they are smart and work hard. Exactly. He rides for us as Black Americans. How is he the problem? He's not the problem. I'm saying that he should use his platform to divvy out other people to be blessed besides himself. That's all I mean. And it would be better if he would try to solidify our name in the government, get a lawyer. He got a lawyer to fend off Pan-African, Brandon's fat ass. Why couldn't he get a lawyer, a real legit lawyer to represent us for real? But he doesn't want to do stuff that might potentially put him in the category of being a leader, which would in turn jeopardize his convenience of getting money comfortably without the danger of it. So he's not going to put his neck on the line to solidify the name FBA for real, in other conversations that's being had offline. People don't know about FBA. It's imagined on YouTube. That hatred for educated people is scary. No, it's not hatred. It's just sometimes they have an arrogance about themselves that they shouldn't have. Sometimes common sense works a lot better than a book. Sometimes life works a lot better than a book. Sometimes people assume if you get a degree that you're better than somebody, and that's just not true. So I'm just making a point that sometimes people like him, Lumumba, is annoying when they always lead with their so-called education, because life sometimes will lend you a different perspective than what education could ever lend you. That's all I mean. I'm saying, why would you want the FBI to consider any other Black lineage? Why would I want? I'm saying FBI is online watching right now. They're everywhere watching. Just like Manosphere got tethered or tarred with the word of hate, that they were doing some hating against women. The Manosphere, remember when they were called out by the FBI? That's along the lines of what I mean. Ben says, I bought a $1,200 or $1,200 iPhone. No telling how much Apple made. It's a capitalistic society, so I have no problem with people making money off their products. I feel you. I mean, I'm just saying that he could do a little bit more to help other people out with what he's been able to amass so far. And I think that he's kind of comfortable in what he's doing just for himself. That's what I'm saying. He's become kind of greedy, making his money off of the logo. And he's doing everything masterfully in how he's running about manipulating and seemingly pimp, what we desire, what our desires are, and what we feel like we should want to do as a collective. He has kind of made us comfortable staying stagnant, listening to him, and not really doing anything tangible that can possibly turn and help us out. Like I say, why don't we, he's a cult. The Code is the leader. Oh, Lord, you definitely been listening to him a lot. He sells DVDs, soaps, deodorants, clothes, some same as white-owned business does. And yes, he makes a profit like white businesses do. The FBI knows who the real think pennies are. I don't think the FBI is bothered by the Pan-Africans. I don't think that they ever, have you ever heard of someone being harassed as a Pan-African? I don't think so. There was only one that was accused of working with Russia. I remember now. This Pan-African older guy, and he had his house swapped, but he was supposedly working with Russia. That's the only time I ever heard somebody had an issue with being bothered by FBI or whoever they were that swapped the house, the police. But who is Tariq hating, sister? And if I could ask, what are you doing to help us as a people in the mass so far? I declare my identity, and I have written to the, Black Caucus before, Attorney General before, about complaints regarding our identity, complaints regarding Pan-Africans, complaints regarding Ghana, complaints regarding a Foster past ambassador. That's what I did so far. And sometimes I help homeless people out. I haven't lately because I've been working on myself, but sometime this summer, I'll be back helping homeless people out. That's what I do as a one individual female woman. That's what I do. Anyways, okay, well, other ancestors died for our right to get an education, so it's confusing. Well, no, education is good. You don't want to be dumb, of course. I'm saying that sometimes people lean on their education as being the reason why we should listen to them more than our own instinct, than our own mind says, and our own reality shows. Sometimes common sense goes a long way versus what people claiming to be educated claims. Some people lead too much on education is what I'm saying, and not on reality of what they're seeing and what's going on in front of their face. There's nothing wrong with education though overall. Not pimping if you get what you want, pay for. Well, okay. You guys have an opinion about, I think that he should be doing more, in my opinion, though, with all the numbers that he gets, the influence that he got. But that's just me. All businesses pimp the consumers. Look at their advertising budgets. They get you to buy things you don't need. Yeah, that's true. So now I'm going to go back. You could either believe me or you don't, Gene. I don't have to prove anything to you. You're a mere avatar on the platform listening to me for the first time. And I appreciate that. But now don't get beside yourself.
Well, then, if that was the case, then Marcus Garvey probably didn't coin the term, because the thing is that the word pan means everything has to be reciprocal. Everything has to be both ways. I mean, if you Google the definition.
No, Pan-Africanism is about what? Black people globally. So here's the difference between a black nationalist and a Pan-Africanist. A black nationalist is someone who advocates politically, socially, and economically for the empowerment of black people in a particular country. A Pan-Africanist is a person who advocates for the political, social, and economic empowerment of a black person throughout the world. For example, Malcolm X, when he was in the Nation of Islam, he was a black nationalist. When he left the Nation of Islam, he became a Pan-Africanist.
Mm-hmm. Or he had his okay. Let me explain to you the flaws of Pan-Africanism or whatnot, because when we use the argument of Pan-Africanism, that kind of gives the impression that there is some type of global connection to Africa that all black people have. Well, that's what it is. Now we can go into the details about, okay, well, what the origins of Pan-Africanism is, but the thing is that how in modern society do people look at Pan-Africanism, and what are the issues with Pan-Africanism?
Well, I'm asking you a question. Most people actually don't know what Pan-Africanism is. When I was writing my thesis and I was doing research, there were African Americans who was like, well, what is Pan-Africanism? Is that a religion? So most people have a misunderstanding of what Pan-Africanism is because they actually never read anything about Pan-Africanism. When my son was 7 years old, I actually had him read a book entitled Pan-Africanism for Beginners. And if I did the book, it said what you said. It's about black folks everywhere in the world. So
if it's about black first, then why is it not more efficient to say black first?
Well, because from a Pan-African standpoint, people use the term African and black interchangeably from a Pan-Africanist frame of reference. Now, what most people would do is they would go get someone who isn't a Pan-Africanist, have them say something, and then say, well, see, he said X, Y, Z, and that's not congruent with what you said Pan-Africanism is about, but that person isn't a Pan-Africanist. That would be like me being a Christian and then making an argument about Islam that is on its base inaccurate, and then getting the person who's not a Muslim, then saying, well, see, he said it, but that person isn't a Muslim.
Mm-hmm. And I understand.
Part of it is based on this. Historically, right, in order for the African to become a slave, and I'm actually citing the work of Dr. Ali Mazuri, who was the head of African-American Studies at the University of Michigan, his book, A Triple Heritage. There was a process of de-Africanization, and then, of course, racialization. So where we were supposedly stripped of our African lineage and heritage, history, heritage, and culture. And then
again, by whose choice? If the transatlantic slave trade is partially true, which I don't believe all of it is true, if there was an ancestor or some Africans that came over here, how did they get here? Talking about they were stripped as if it's nobody's history is history. You can't change what the past has already caused. And who caused it? They're trying to put blame on us for being ourselves. That's the issue that I have with Pan-Africans. There's nothing wrong with me being me. I don't have to do anything to change about nothing. For what? This educated fool, again, thinks that we have to somehow change because we've been de-Africanized. Now they done made up a word, de-Africanized. Who coined the word Africanized? I'm sure it hasn't existed a very, very long time, but that term is trying to be utilized on us. Africanize them. They need to be Africanized. No, I don't. I need to be, leave me the fuck alone is what y'all need to be doing. Leave me the fuck alone.
Given a racial identity. Now, what we do know, if you've ever studied anthropology or the history of African American culture, is that there are a number of forms of what African cultural attention and African American culture, right? Not only from religious institutions, but from social, and even how we raise our children. So Malcolm even mentioned this when he was in the nation. He said that even though we have been removed from the African continent for X number of years, he said what they found was that the success of the Black Muslim movement, when it was being led by Malcolm, was African ties, African identity, African culture, so on and so forth.
Again, this comes from people that call themselves educated. They get together, they have little conferences together, they make up phrases and coin this and coin that and bring the bullshit to us with this bullshit. None of this have nothing to do with me being who I am right now, but they coming with the bullshit because they got educated by this professor and this coined word this, and we educated to this and we philosophized this and we theorized that. It has nothing to do with my reality though.
But once again, the issue is that most people that people cite and say, well, this person said X, Y, Z, are individuals who are Pan-Africanism. And then to revert to my original point is what we tend to find is, and the brother say, yes, Black is a derivative, of course, of the concept of race first and Pan-Africanism. I agree 100%. You're absolutely right there. But the issue is most people don't have an actual working, factual understanding of what Pan-Africanism is. So as a result, this is why you have people come up and they make these claims about an ideology that they actually know. He
ain't saying what it is though. He just long-winded as fuck. Why don't you just say what it is and what it does and where the examples are where this Pan-Africanism is being done? He won't do that because he can't do that. He cannot do it.
Nothing about.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I have maybe 20, 30 books in my library on Pan-Africanism. I mean, I had to read this stuff because I had to write a thesis on it.
Here we go with the books. There we go. Educated fool. I read 30 books. I went through these books. I'm so superior now. These books. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, if based off Malcolm X also did say we were Aboriginal as well, too.
I'm not familiar with Malcolm ever saying that.
Well, I've played it on my YouTube channel of a clip of Malcolm actually saying that. But I'm not trying to really switch the gears into that. But if Black First is the same thing in your words as Pan-Africanism, and people don't know, or there is confusion of Pan-Africanism, if it is the same concept, then for the sake of creating less confusion or clearing up confusion, wouldn't it be, and this is a question for you, doesn't it make more sense to just say black first? Because that's a more clear, polished term that is more easily digestible and understood.
Well,
and there's not around black first versus Pan-African.
And I would say no. The reason why is because this is recreating the wheel. It already existed. Right? If you ever get a chance, if you could read some of the work of Tony Martin, who was the world's preeminent Garvey scholar, right? And if I might be able to pull the book out, here we go. It's called Race First, right? The Ideological Organization Struggles of Marcus Garvey and the Universal Negro Improvement Association, right?
So different educated fools get together, they get educated in the college. The curriculum comes from white folks that's approved for them to so-called be educated on. And then they come and spew this bullshit to us. Okay, all these different books. Doesn't mean a hill of beans. What has he done like China Mac? Where's their organization? Where have they been seen doing this Pan-African stuff? They're only talking bullshit to us.
He was quoted as stating that in a world full of wolves, of global anti-blackness, the only solution is race first, no matter where we are in the world, right? The second issue, in terms of answering that question, is, once again, part of the reason why most people don't know about what Pan-Africanism actually is, and I actually stated this in my thesis, is because Pan-Africanism has promised so much and delivered so little. Think about it. If you may not be familiar with the Ghanaian novel, The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born, where it talks about post-independence Ghana, right? And basically the author's arguing that, hey, we believe that ushering in this period of independence and Pan-Africanism will bring about tangible benefits right away, right? But as a result, in the last 60 years, Malcolm X was killed, Thomas Sankara was killed, Patrice Lumumba was killed. We had Western-backed coups in Libya and Ghana and so throughout the world, right? And so as a result, it promised so much and delivered so little to where people say, well, maybe this isn't working because what it was supposed to bring about, it didn't bring about. And that was what? Political and economic independence from white hegemony. Mm-hmm. So the argument I make in my thesis is that Pan-Africanism has been reduced to simply cultural organizations that teach people about their history, heritage, and culture. No, what we need to do is we need to be developing institutions to serve the needs of our people. For example, I dated a sister from South Sudan. She was a baddie too. She was a model. Woo, right? Wish that could have worked, right? And we went to a South Sudanese wedding in Pittsburgh. So we get there. And I'm like, yo, man, what the hell is this? It's at a white church. The people are singing, I love Jesus and all this stuff. So I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Right? And so I went to the restroom and then I saw the list of all the services that these white missionaries were providing. And I said, no wonder they got them. They're actually providing bread and butter, tangible benefits. Right? This is why we have, even though I'm not a Christian, right? But even though in our community, most black people return to the church as a solution to their problem, even though they're not actually Christian, right? Because there's a brick and mortar institution there that at some base level can help them solve their problem. They might have a food pantry, a literacy program, whatever, right? And so the issue for black people who are supposedly in the know is that we don't build institutions to address the needs of our actual people. And we don't do it in a manner that actually would allow us to what? Compete efficaciously for the hearts and minds of our people against these other theological and ideological perspectives that are out there.
Okay, that's very interesting. Can I ask you a question, actually? You said in your thesis you wrote about the flaws of Pan-Africanism. So what do you believe are the flaws of Pan-Africanism?
Well, I think one of the biggest flaws of Pan-Africanism is you look at the African Union, which is for Pan-Africanism, it is the flagship organization of Pan-Africanism. African Union is seen as a toothless bulldog. In fact, it's actually funded for the most part by the European Union. So we know they're not going to do anything or get anything done. That's a major issue right there. And the other issue, as I stated before,
and that shows you how stupid Africans are to allow European Union to pay for the African unions to operate in Africa. And the Chinese built the African Union building and bugged it for years, and they found out about that. So they have just been lame ducks being used and abused by China and European Union with this African Union. It does not exist.
It's promised very much, but produced very little. Most of the leading Pan-Africanists throughout the world in the past 60 years have been assassinated, killed, so on and so forth. And then last but not least, Pan-Africanism, in my opinion, and this is based on my own anecdotal lived experience as I travel throughout the world, particularly here in the United States, has been reduced to simply cultural programming. And that's not enough if we want to be able to compete in a global economy. Right, we're talking about being able to compete, right? We ain't just competing with people in America because of technology, the world is shrinking. There are individuals in Beijing, Budapest, Tokyo, who are able to do the same job that we are, right? From the comfort of their own laptop and sit in their living room. So as a result, we have to develop programming to allow us to gain the skills necessary to be able to compete efficaciously on a global level.
And I actually do fully agree with that. Now, my question to that is this, because it's still kind of confusing me a little bit. Because based off of what you're saying that Pan-Africanism is black first. Is you're putting black first. And this goes back earlier into the conversation when I was talking about using the terminology that is the most clear, most digestible terminology. Using the terminology that causes the least amount of confusion. When people in modern society, when they hear Pan-Africanism, we hear an ideology that is centered around Africa. That is centered around Africa.
Because the person doesn't know what Pan-Africanism is. So that's just like me using the word soliloquy.
Okay.
Right? So if the person doesn't know what soliloquy means, and they don't ask what it means, they come up with their own definition of what it is.
Well, but the thing is that with the term black first, you can't come up with your own definition. It's based off of what you're saying, black first would just be a more efficient term to use for what you're saying Pan-Africanism truly is. It just causes less confusion. You don't have to go around clearing that up. Like you said about the African Union. It would be a lot more clear if it was a black first union, because then that would require stipulations about you putting your race first instead of you just being African. You know what I'm saying? So with the terminology of black first, that actually requires some type of stipulation in order for you to say, I identify as somebody who is black first. Because when people say I identify as somebody who is a Pan-Africanist, that doesn't have the same requirements as somebody who say I identify as somebody who is black first. And a lot of people don't see it that way. So it would be just more efficient to use the term black first.
But this is the thing. I mean, and we can agree to disagree on that. But one thing you stated in terms of Pan-Africanism that doesn't require that, that's false. Matter of fact, one of the core tenets of Pan-Africanism is that you cannot date outside your race. This is a core tenet of Pan-Africanism that goes back centuries, right? How do I know this? I'm a Pan-Africanist. I had to do the history. So once again, as I stated before, oftentimes when I have conversations with individuals, they're making claims about Pan-Africanism that are historically inaccurate, and the reason why is because they are not knowledgeable of what Pan-Africanism actually is. It's history. In fact, Pan-Africanism, many people argue, go back to the proto-Pan-Africanist era. So we're talking about going beyond just the maroon societies, but many people argue that the Pan-Africanism's impetus was based on what the success of the Haitian Revolution. And it led to Black people throughout the world stating that through armed struggle, we too can be a free, proud, productive people. Right? And so, yes. So, so once again, a lot of the claims is just because people don't read. I can't make it any simpler. If people actually read it, they would know these things.
Well, and the thing is that I feel like right now, because you said that Pan-Africanism didn't really pan out, and
so what I've argued is that I say that I question, is it dead? And I gave the reasons why it's dead is because the leaders, the preeminent leaders of Pan-Africanism, the majority of them were assassinated, thrown in prison, so on and so forth. And so it promised very much, but delivered very little because it was such a threat to what global white supremacy. Well, even the Bush administration even acknowledged that the biggest threat to America's access to foreign resources on the continent was Pan-Africanism. Even Kwame Nkrumah said he said we have a abruptly nationalistic rather than Pan-Africanist approach would simply be played against each other like pawns on a chessboard.
Okay, I understand that.
Now, we played against each other just in America based on living in a different neighborhood. Okay. Right? I grew up on the south side, you grew up on the west side. You from K-Town and I'm from Inglewood, so we beefing. I mean, it's just idiotic.
And I agree with that. Now, my thing is, do you not feel like, based off of what you're telling me, it seems like you're trying to reteach what the origin of Pan-Africanism is. You're doing a lot of damage control because the ideology of Pan-Africanism is distorted in people's mind, and which you won't have to do if you use the term black first. Another thing too is the fact that Pan-Africanism gives the implication that, okay, every black person is in this boat, and we all have to go help each other. We all have to be helping hands for each other and uplift each other. Now, with the black first mentality is we have the understanding that all black people around the globe.
One moment. Give me one moment.
Okay.
By the way, please like the video. Please share the video. Please subscribe to my channel. Lumumba Speaks, who left, is a Pan-African. He has not conveyed and convinced anyone that Pan-Africanism is the way to go for Black Americans, indigenous to America. This is what they do. They yap and debate and argue and bash. I'm going to fast forward it in a little bit to get to the better parts because supposedly it got a little bit heated and they're being a little bit too nice right now. So I'm going to fast forward in like 2-3 minutes. You know what? I'm going to do it now because he's taking too long.
And Asians all benefit off of the work that we do, but
assumes that if a person is black, they're going to be down for the cause, but then if B1, that means that people are down for the cause. No, it's still based on a person's political ideology. We know this. There are black people throughout the world who don't view being black, don't view being African, person of African descent as their most salient identity. Some people view their religion, some people view their gender, some people view their sexual orientation. So just using the term B1 doesn't mean all of a sudden people are going to coalesce and all of a sudden be down for the cause.
Yeah, well, I disagree with that, and I feel like it does because the thing is that with B1, that requires that means you partner up with other people who are B1. You can vet people who are B1. The thing is that with Pan-Africanism, like I was just stating before, with Pan-Africanism, everybody has to help each other out like this is a unified family, which is beautiful in theory, but the thing is that everybody is not like that. With B1 requires you to team up with other people who are on code. Pan-Africanism requires you to just help and empower other black people just in general. And the thing is that has been a flawed movement. That movement has flaws in it. Now with the B1, the thing is that encompasses a filtering system that Pan-Africanism didn't encompass. That is why B1
that is historically not accurate. So I'm going to ask you the question. Have you ever met a Pan-Africanist or been part of a Pan-Africanist organization?
I used to be a Pan-Africanist.
Have you ever, you didn't answer the question though.
Okay.
Have you ever met one or been part of a Pan-Africanist organization?
I've never been a part of any organization, so to speak, but I've met Pan-Africanists, yes.
So if you were part of a Pan-Africanist organization, you would know that if the person doesn't act or not grounded in the ideologies and the core tenets of Pan-Africanism, we don't go out and help them. That's not how it works. I would know because I've been a Pan-Africanist for 2 decades. And I would have to question if you have been a Pan-Africanist because So
it sounds like he's a part of some type of global scenario, like an entity, organization or something. He says he's been involved for 20 years. I'm pretty sure it has to do when he was in college and how he's probably sponsored by somebody now. But he hasn't conveyed anything that showcases what Pan-Africanism is capable of doing other than his books. That's it. I don't see nothing impressive about the guy.
Unable to give me an actual definition of what Pan-Africanism was. The claim that you made about Pan-Africanism were historically and contemporarily inaccurate.
Okay, but the flaw you have, sir, and all due respect, is that you're really describing B1 as Pan-Africanism.
No, you're describing B1 as Pan-Africanism.
Because the terms, first off, words in general, and this is just the human language, words, terms, all of these things, none of that has a concrete, solidified, unchangeable definition. Words are just sounds that people make. And the thing is that Pan-Africanism, for all intents and purposes, Pan-Africanism does not represent what you are saying it represents. You are going back to the very origins of Pan-Africanism.
That's to substantiate this.
Okay, but the thing is,
this is why I said,
okay, sir,
at the top of the show, one of the core rules is not being intellectually disingenuous. There's a century of scholarship on Pan-Africanism that aligns with what I'm saying. So it isn't just because I'm saying this. I'm talking about from the 19th century to today. There is a century of scholarship that supports what I'm saying as historically accurate and factual.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then. What is your issue with the term Black First? Why is there so much pushback from you if Black First and Pan-Africanism truly means the same thing and requirements are the same? Why is there so much pushback?
It's a derivative of Pan-Africanism. That's number one. The second issue is when I've come in contact with individuals, and I stated about what FBA, ADOS, B1, they make claims about Pan-Africanism and Black people who are not African Americans that are just patently false. And I would give you some examples, because I stated when I make a claim, I have to undergird it with factual information. So one of the things we hear people saying is, well, these Black immigrants, these African immigrants from the Caribbean and Africa are eating off of what we built here in America. Now, when you actually critique that, it's not true.
That is true. That's very true.
I'm going to tell you why. If you look at from the Pew Research Center, the top 5 nationalities of people who have, in the past 3 years, that have immigrated to America are Mexican, Chinese, Indian, Filipino, and from El Salvador. Not from the continent, not from the Caribbean. So if anyone is eating, it would be Latinos, Asians, Indians, and Filipino people.
Who is saying that they are not eating, though?
Well, hold on, here's the other issue. There were claims that people were making say that I was just on the platform yesterday, and a woman said, well, you have African and Caribbean immigrants coming over here and instantly getting Social Security benefits. I said, I know that's not true, because in order to get SSI, you have to have a Social Security number. Okay, so people are making claims that are just false.
Well, actually, no. These claims are not false, sir, because, and here's the thing, nobody is making the argument.
If you don't have a Social Security number.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying nobody is making the argument that all these other ethnic groups are not benefiting off of the work.
So that's the point I want to think about that. The majority of the immigrants that come here are non-Black.
Again, you got all the immigration globally going on, and he wants to downplay the immigrants that are supposedly melanated that comes over here, or that are coming over here. He's saying it's not much of a number for us to really bring that argument up. But we're saying, as Indigenous Black Americans, we don't care what type of immigrants you are. If you are illegal, we don't need that. We are overwhelmed. We are going to feel the ill effects behind these immigrants coming over here. It's not going to be a blessing to us whatsoever. And yet Pan-Africans don't want us to look at the Black ones or the melanated ones and say, hey, we have an issue with you too, because we're supposed to unify with them. But that's not reality on the ground. Come on. It's not working out the way in which you are theorizing, hypothesizing, making shit up as you go because you read a book, a philosopher, someone that said this, they believe this concept of that, this is supposed to work this way, but it has never been worked that way. It's something that you thought on, you dreamed on, you wrote it down, you put it in a book, and now you have other people reading this stuff and they taking it to heart as if it's a reality that's going to be realized, and it's not.
Why aren't people attacking them?
And see, okay, now here's the problem. That is the problem. We have been addressing them. I've personally been addressing them for years. We've been addressing how the Hispanics have been benefiting off of our work, how the Asians have been benefiting off of our work. We address that. The issue is that Pan-Africanists have...
We supposed to accept all melanated people that comes over here, according to Pan-Africans. Again, we are bum rushed right now. We are overwhelmed right now. It's scary as fuck in certain areas of America right now due to this influx of all these migrants. And it's not a beautiful sight. It's not a beautiful feeling. There's nothing beautiful about it. You can't make that shit work for my eyes. And yet they try because of a book they fucking read. Let's go.
Very narrow sight when it comes to what we claim we advocate for. The thing is that we can address that not Native Americans, we can address that Hispanics and Asians all benefit off of the work that we do, but that does not make it any less true that Africans and Caribbeans also benefit off of the work that we do. All of the people who immigrate.
They all do. They've been all doing it. They all have squeezed in the people of color mode, minority mode, and they've used up everything connected to our civil rights that we actually died for. This is literally happening today, and he will never, ever face that truth and say, yeah, that's actually happening to us. That's kind of fucked up that they did that. They just hijacked our civil rights and given it away to everybody else that decides to come over here legally. He wants to like bash us about feeling some kind of way about melanated global people coming over here, and we feeling the same way about them as we feel about the others. We don't see the difference in any of them coming over here. It's all the same effect, not good. But yeah, he wants us to pretend like something is wrong with us. If we see this as being disturbing to our eyes and our feelings, something's wrong with us. Pan-Africanism comes and strikes again.
To this land after America was built, immigrated and benefit off of the work that foundation Black Americans did.
Immigrated here with white folk.
Sir, I mean, even modern times, the people who immigrate off from whatever their homeland is, when they come over here, they are benefiting off of the work that our ancestors built.
And I would argue the reason why people are only attacking Black people because they're the softest target.
Again, we're trying to get on code to talk about all the problems that are affecting us. Again, he's trying to spare the melanated immigrants that come over here, illegal or not, as not being a reason for us to have some type of ill will feelings about. And you cannot tell us what to feel. You can't tell us that what we're feeling is not anxiety and kind of like uncertainty, these men coming over here not being vetted, these people over here, these women trying to hurry up and get pregnant, programs drying up, money being dispersed through all these different people that just ransacked America, and we shouldn't feel no kind of way because of a fucking Pan-African book.
And see, that's the flaw of Pan-Africanism. That's the flaw of Pan-Africanism because not Pan-Africanism. That's the modern Pan-Africanist. Because the thing is that when we are critical of people from the diaspora, then it's always okay. You're only attacking Black people. We've had years of addressing the racism in the Hispanic community, the racism in the Asian community, the fact that they piggyback off of our work, the fact that they take credit for our work, the fact that they give an example our work and. We have to acknowledge that, but you can acknowledge multiple things at the same time.
But can you give an example? You said that they take credit for our work. Could you give an example of the Latino community taking credit of the work of African Americans in America?
Yes, a lot of the Latinos imply that they built this country. You have one Latino. His name is American Cholo. He has a podcast, and he claims that Hispanics built the country too. You have Asians who claim that they built the railroads, and all of these things are historic. No, that's historically inaccurate.
Asians did they dealt with forced labor, right?
No, that's historically inaccurate, and I know that on a YouTube video. No, it's historically inaccurate, sir. Nobody captured them and forced them to come off their own volition.
I never said that. I never said that.
If they came here off their, you can't say something is forced if you came to do it.
No, I didn't say it was forced. All I'm saying is they did build railroads. This is something that happened.
They built railroad. Okay. Here's the thing.
I didn't say they were forced. I didn't say they were enslaved.
Okay, so they weren't forced. They weren't enslaved. Were there railroads here prior to them coming here and building railroads?
And when they were here, they were building railroads. I teach history.
Okay, yes, okay. The thing is that saying that when we built railroads when we came here and saying we built the railroads are not necessarily the same thing. They're not the same statement, because one implies that, okay, when you got here, then you started building railroads. Another implies that railroads were built because you came here. And that's the difference. They make the argument that railroads were built because of them. They are the reasons for the railroads. They are not the reasons for the railroads. They have, but that's how they frame the argument. They have built railroads.
What I can say, it is historically accurate that Asians built railroads. Now, what I will say,
okay, and I'm not disagreeing with that, but did they build? Now, and this is all the way circled back to earlier in the conversation when it comes to the term. When they say Asians built the railroads, that gives the implication through the terms and words that you are using that the railroads are here and the Asian people who came here and they are responsible for them. When you say Asians came here and Asians built some railroads, or Asians contributed to the building of the railroads, because there was also slaves working with the Asians who are doing that as well. So when you say Asians contributed to the building of the railroads, that doesn't solely give the credit to the Asians who participated in the building of the railroads. And see, that is the thing where they try to take credit for something that they didn't do, because they know, when they say Asians built the railroads, they know the implication of that. They know that comes off as if that they built that the railroads weren't here prior to them.
Right.
And they don't tell another version of that story.
However, it's not disingenuous for them to say we built railroads, because they did.
It is disingenuous.
They actually did. This is something that they did do. They built railroads.
See, and this is what I'm saying. When it comes to using very specific terminology, because that can change the entire sentence. If you say, you just said it, we built railroads, Asians built railroads, that is one thing. And then saying Asians built the railroads, that is changing the conversation.
That's an issue you need to take up. But the other issue, and I even talk about this with Latino community. Latinos, so let's go back. We talk about the Mexican-American War, right? After the Mexican-American War, you may not be aware of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, right? So as you may be aware, California, Utah, Nevada, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, all that was part of Mexico. You are aware of that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so part of the treaty said that Mexicans and their descendants could cross the border as they well please. This is something that is historically accurate. Once again, I know this because I teach history at the collegiate level. So it's not like I'm pulling things out of my derriere. These are historical facts. That's why I stated on my channel, we always make sure that we're undergirding our position with factual information.
Okay.
Right, that's my position. So with that being said, I tend to, my position is always, listen, you want to immigrate, you need to do it with legal documentation, right? Because we know you can't go anywhere in the world and just show up and say, I'm here. You have to have what? Proper documentation. You can't just show up like I'm here.
Can I ask you a question? Are you saying that Latinos and Hispanics built the country? Is that what you implied in that statement? I just want to be
No, I wouldn't say that, because we do know, and I'm even go broader, not just America, but we know that the Industrial Revolution was financed based on what? The backs of African slaves. This is the reality. Prior to the transatlantic slave trade, the wealthiest places in the world were what was considered the Orient, the Far East, and of course, West Africa. After, unfortunately, the transatlantic slave trade, and I wouldn't even call it a trade, and that implies business gone bad with collateral damage. But after that, what the wealthiest places in the world became what? Western Europe and, of course, North America. So not only did we build and finance America, we built and financed the what? Global North. If you want to keep it up.
I fully agree with that.
Yeah, you want to keep it up. We financed the Global North. Like we put in the.
So we are the foundation of America. Wouldn't you say? When you agree to that?
Economically, yes. But I also saw on a platform where someone said that we were the reason why America was the wealthiest and most powerful nation in the world. Now that was disingenuous.
How was that disingenuous?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because prior to World War I, America was not the wealthiest and most powerful nation in the world. They were ranked number 12. prior to World War II. After World War II, America became the wealthiest, most powerful nation in the world because America's competition in Europe had been decimated by the war, and we had no competition. And so therefore, as a result, America's manufacturing power and their ability to sell products globally was unmatched because all the other countries, their economies were in shambles.
Well, I mean, still, all of that, you still trace that back. The fact that this country didn't exist prior to foundational Black Americans building the country means that every single thing.
Number one. So you said using language that's very specific. I said number one. Prior to World War II, America was ranked number 12.
But we didn't. The argument still is that we built the wealthiest country. It doesn't matter when we became the wealthiest country. When we became the wealthiest country, you can trace it back to its origin.
It wasn't the wealthiest country.
It doesn't matter when it became the wealthiest country. And by your own admission, it has been the wealthiest country.
It became the wealthiest country because there was no competition.
But the thing is that how America wouldn't have been a country had we not built it.
Once again, now you're moving the goalposts.
I'm saying you're trying to discredit.
I'm not discrediting. I'm making a very specific point. I stated America became a wealthy country because of chattel enslavement of African people. That's a fact.
Okay.
What I'm stating is that America didn't become the wealthiest nation in the world, numero uno, until after World War II because there was no global competition in the economy.
So does that make the statement we built the wealthiest country? Does that make the statement inaccurate?
Yes, it makes it inaccurate.
No, because the thing is that even when like I'm saying, the time frame of when we became the wealthiest country, like for instance, if I built a car, but I'm saying, my analogy, if I built a car, and at the time when I built the car is not the fastest car in the world. But then 10 years down the line, this car became the fastest car in the world. I still built the fastest car in the world.
It would be because how?
No, sir. But the thing is that I still built it. It doesn't matter how. The people who still built it. The people who still built it. We still built the country.
It does matter how.
So then who did build the wealthiest country in the world then?
The devil's in the details. And
Sir, you're looking at the nuance and you're majoring in the minors. Because
that's a major issue.
That's a minor thing because I'm talking about the origin of the country. That whether it's World War I, World War II, the Civil War, that doesn't change the origin of the country and who built the country.
I never said it didn't.
So I'm saying that if the people who still built the country is the same, then when despite whatever time frame the country became the wealthiest country, the people still deserve the credit for that. For whoever at the time when that country was the richest country, that country in its beginning, in its origin, was not the richest country in the world, but it became the richest country. Every country has to become the richest country, but the credit still goes to the people who built the country.
And the question is, how did it become the richest country? It became the richest country because after World War II, there was no competition in the global marketplace. These are facts.
Who gets the credit for that? Who gets the credit for that?
I know this. Who gets credit for it? It was a result of World War II. After World War
I'm saying, but what group of people get
World War II? There were two superpowers in the world, the UK and Germany. After World War II, the two superpowers in the world was the United States and the Soviet Union. And this is where we had the Cold War. So what changed the dynamic of the superpowers in the world was what? World War II. These are facts. Like I said,
there would not have been. First off, America would not have been able to participate in any of these world wars had we, as foundational Black Americans, not built the country. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we focus on the minor details, you're saying the devil is in the details, and I do agree that the details are important. But if we focus on the details, we oftentimes overlook the big picture. The big picture is this country didn't exist until we built the country. So every single success of the country can be contributed to the fact that we built the country. And I mean, yeah. So for the fact that we,
but that's not the the point that I was making.
Okay, but the thing, I feel like we're having a disconnection even though we agree on the same topic.
The country in the world in terms of political, economic, and military power after World War II. That was not the case before World War II.
I feel like that does not matter when it became.
It does matter. It matters.
That doesn't matter.
We're just talking about geopolitical politics. We're talking about global politics, global hegemony, global white supremacy. Right? How Americans able to go into other countries and what? Kill heads of states.
Oh, I feel like you're moving the goalposts now because we're talking about history. We're just talking about giving credit to people who built the country.
That's not what I was talking about.
I really am lost on what they're arguing on. Are you guys convinced on what they're arguing about? Because I'm kind of confused. It's kind of a long-winded circular conversation. I don't really understand why this guy is fighting back on our claim of building America, this Lumumba. But let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room before I continue. I hope that you guys would support by liking the video, sharing the video, subscribe to my channel. This is For Black Righteous Folks Home, short for For Black. I appreciate everybody for being in the chat room, conversing. Thank you so much. I can't go back to all the different people that wrote in the comment section, but I'll try to go up as best I can. Let me see. Hi. Okay, I said hi B from, okay, I don't know. What's up? Onris. Pinky says that is true. You get in America, you can get Social Security disability. Four Rivers says there are programs set up for non-citizens to collect Social Security. People have recently talked about the new immigrants getting it. Wow, I never heard of that before. How does that work? Lynn M says, why is Lumumba not in Africa? Because they are the biggest hypocrites ever. They love to visit. They love to get money somehow by promoting of it, but they're not going to go live in Africa. They just want you to dare to go live and dream to go live there in Africa. Pinky says, and CAPI, cash assistance payments for immigrants, new arrivals. What? CAPI, cash assistance payments? Wow. Easy X says, Panties think that the black foreigners will help increase our numbers. They're not on the same team. In theory, true. Easy X says, but these foreign blacks come to eat only and not fight with black Americans, yet they benefit from our fight. Exactly. They didn't come here to fight. They came here to benefit and to come up and to get their own presence felt in America, make their own way and make their own stamp. They're not trying to come to change anything. They're trying to come and to get what they can get from the benefit of it. So we're not on the same team. And that's just the truth. We see. And sanctuary city leaders aren't even hiding the fact that they are taking the resources from many indigenous black Americans to pay the migrant influx. I know they're just bold with it. The disrespect that we're getting right now is unmatched on how bold they are deliberately disrespecting us and not giving a flying fuck about our feelings. Easy Access, these god dang panties are so effing tiresome. Very long-winded, isn't he? They need to look up that about being long-winded because sometimes that's too much. What's up, Jean says, fact sister. Len says, he can just Google, do migrants get Social Security? Answer is yes. Wow. Americans who are black never tired of muling, Pinky Wells says. Apparently so. Afro elite. I mean, I think they sound similar to me, Pinky. I don't really see too much of a difference, really, other than the indigenous aspect of being considered, you're American, we belong here, this is our land. That's the real big difference between the two. Lynn M says, yes, immigrants or migrants get Social Security, welfare, healthcare, housing, free rent, credit cards, Medicaid, benefits, etc. Wow. Let's flip the script, EasyX says. Lumumba, let's take 10K. Black Americans, let's not. But anyways, panties, Pan-African panties. You said take 10K of them and move to a community or city in Africa and see the reaction from indigenous Africans. Yes, they definitely would not be liking that at all. Pinky says they came here willingly and worked for low wages. Actually said they would work for less than Americans. Yeah, that's exactly what they said to get in. Like I said, they come to incorporate themselves, to infiltrate however they can. They're not trying to build. They're not trying to, they're taking over. They're moving us out the way and taking over. Four Rivers says not only is the country built by the indigenous Black Americans, but it belongs to them. European explorers originally confirmed that the indigenous America were Black. The U.S. later renamed them Africans. Exactly. That word didn't come until way late, though. You teach white history. I don't know. He knows how to play word effery afro. Yes, the immigrants always offer services for less to take the jobs from Americans. Exactly. Snatch. Yeah. Replacement. It's a replacement game going on. Facts, they reclassify the indigenous American Indians to Black, Negro, colored, mulatto, and now Africans. Exactly, Lynn. Like we're not supposed to finally get what they've been doing. It's very disingenuous and quite disgusting. If they built railroads here, why couldn't they build them in their country? Jane Harvey says. Pinky says, until they're the majority working in that industry, then they want what Americans would be paid out here. Exactly. That's exactly going to flip the script and talk about we want rights. We want equal pay. As soon as they get their bearings, as soon as they have the numbers, they're going to do a switch and we really going to be looking crazy. That's what is going on right now. We're being ransacked right now. We've been bum rushed right now, and people are acting like that's not the case. Pan-Africans are acting oblivious to any of this. Four Rivers says, Lynn M, yes, that the funny thing about the new immigrants working for less, eventually they will demand proper wages like everyone else. Exactly, they are. They're going to flip. Asians who came to this country willingly and built some railroads in the west of the U.S. and they were paid. Yes, they were. The Chinese built 85% of the railroad ways. Cal says, yes, over 40,000 Chinese died building the railways. Is that right? Most were not paid. Huh. What source is that you got that from? Are you Asian? Cal. The U.S. was built off the back of the enslaved Negroes or Blacks. We were never called Africans until 1991. Man, they need to keep that word off of me. 1991, that's real recent. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Okay, so I don't know about Chinese history in America so much, so you could have to tell me what source you got that from, because I never even heard of what you're talking about. Cal. You said, and they volunteered to come. Jean says, they also were paid and they didn't bill. They helped extend the railroad. You said, Four Rivers says the indigenous Blacks were part of America before the alleged transatlantic slave trade. The Africans mostly went to the Caribbean. That's my understanding. That is my understanding. And like I said, we're multi-raced at this point. We are our own ethnic group, and we should want to fight for our own survival and make our own understanding of what direction our life we want it to go, not by the movements and trends of the day of so-called intellectuals who are theorizing our life for us in Pan-Africanism, which is a fantasy. And I don't have time for people playing around with my life. I don't have time people make believing for my life. Do what you claim you want done and leave me up out of that bullshit. You said Chinese workers built the western section of the first transcontinental railroad in the United States, the Central Pacific Railroad, between 1863 and 1869. Are you Asian? Cal X Cal? No, my brother, now you're trying to move the goalposts. Facts to Lynn M. America's built the foundation. If others could build, they would have stayed home, Pinky says. 40,000 died and many were not paid, according to Cal X Cal. Did they come as slaves and did they earn money? Easy X is asking. The chattel slavery in America was mostly the enslavement of indigenous Black Americans, but not all of them. Yes, there were others that were enslaved too, most definitely. And they had those categories. Once they start using the term of colored, ain't no telling what was all included in that colored. Of course, Indians were included in that colored, according to how they were looking. They put them as mulattoes or colored or Negro. I mean, we've been through so many changes with our identity. It's unbelievable. It should make us mad in the head somewhat, to some degree, as many name changes as we had. Okay, Jean says, Cal X Cal, you missed the part where they came here voluntarily. He keeps talking over Afro elite because he's trying to convince, Jean says. Y'all need to see whom are the real bad guys, Cal X Cal claims. Who they are if you think we don't know. Tell us who they are. Yeah, tell us something other than what you're telling us. You said, check whom are the original three kings in the slave trade. Cal X Cal, you need your own channel. If you know all this information, do share. Do share, but you could tell me the names of the kings and I'll look them up. Who you talking about? The Pan-Africanist is always bringing up irrelevant points to avoid the topic. Exactly. Like, we don't care. That's the part that they don't want to talk about. Why don't y'all care? Because we don't. Gene Harvey says Europe in those times were the slums. They did not resolve any of their problems without slavery, famine, or plague. Huh. Yeah, that was kind of messed up that they did that. But they did. I don't argue with panties. Easy Access is exhausting. My only question to them is, why are you not in Africa promoting your ideology? Shouldn't you start in the motherland and convince them first? Exactly. Why are you trying to convince us? We're not going to be the little agents that's running around Africa trying to save Africans. Come on. That's not what we want to go do. If that's what you want to go do, by all means, let's see you do what China Mac did and expand that shit throughout Africa. But you're not going to do it. Just like the Africans who have fled Africa are not doing it. Everyone is trying to spare their own life and live their own life. That's it. That's all. That's where we all are doing, realistically, in reality. The panties don't never really want to live in Africa as full-time residents, but they want others to. Oh yeah, they'll badger you if you don't feel like visiting or buying land or doing something in Africa. You got to do something in Africa. Just got to put something in the game for Africa. Ask a panty if they were born a panty, or was it something they had to join? Sounds like a fraternity, sorority to me. If it's a choice, can we choose to be or not to be a panty? Why are you mad if we choose no? Exactly. That's the problem that I have with Pan-Africans. They should just recruit people who are interested in what they are. theorizing, because that's all they're doing, or fantasizing over. Go get those people that dream the dream like you and look like dumb little birds in the corner and go dream the dream. Like, leave us out of the mess. According to Henry Gate, there were only 92,000 Africans brought from Africa to the Americas, and 4% of the 92,000 was only 3,680 Africans. How did we get to 40 to 50 million? Yeah, that's a lot of explaining that they got to do. Well, no matter what railroads the Chinese workers build, they were not the indigenous Americans. The indigenous Black Americans were. Facts. For Black, and if an indigenous Black American would like to help a poor African village, they should be able to do so without giving up their American identities. Exactly. Just go over there like China Mac did. Make your presence be seen and heard. I'm sure somebody would be happy to hear that you have so much money to purchase and to help out with the community, a village or so, and come back to America and do you. Help out the people around you and spread the love here. The problem is nobody wants us to get any type of love. Everybody's acting like we're not having a switch going on in America. We're not being squeezed out. They're acting like we're okay. Like we're being very much messed with right now. And I see so many homeless people daily, and it's growing, and it's going to continue to grow. It's not going to get no better, unfortunately. And Pan-Africans are clueless on what it takes to survive, because what it takes to survive is you surviving first. That's what it takes to survive. You surviving first, and then worrying about somebody near you to help them survive if you can. Other than that, you should be focusing on your own survival. All this other conversation about Pan-Africanism, again, people got together and went to college, and people started writing books and calling themselves professors and doctors, bachelors, masters, and all this type of talk. They got together and formed different types of organizations called Pan-African organizations, and they're spreading this theorized bullshit to us. They're fucking with us about it when it's not realized nowhere on the ground in the world. I could see if you could find some resemblance of Black unity. But what you have when you do see so-called unity is fear. Like what's going on in Rwanda, how that genocide back in 94 changed Rwanda forever. After 800,000 deaths, and the same person that was a part of that war is now the president, and he rules Rwanda with a fist, supposedly. I guess so. The semblance of it looking like it's unity, but it's based on fear. But there's never really too many countries or places that I can think on that's ran by Black people, so-called melanated people, where Black people gave a damn about one another. It typically does not happen. As you know, as we've been knowing, you might be able to help a handful here and there, but for the most part, we're on our own. And unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Am I going to pretend because you listened to a professor, or you read a book, or you wrote a thesis, you theorize, you fantasize? I don't think so. That's all in your head. Charity begins at home. Home is United States of America. Exactly, Lynn. What, does these Pan-Africans ever practice Pan-Africanism in America? Do they go to homeless shelters and help out homeless people once a year? Twice a year? Do they see about anybody else other than talking shit to us about what we're going to do for other people? That's all we get. Where is that source of Henry Gates saying that? Saying what? Oh, okay. All of my family, relatives, and ethnicity is here in the United States of America. All my work to help my people is here in the United States. That's how I feel. What I see is what I can help. I don't go by what I can't see. And unfortunately, with all the scams and all the lies and people that manipulate and carry themselves in such a way, proves to me why I don't want to trust a slew of so-called Black melanated people, because too many people all the time will let you down because they're scam artists or they're pimping people all over the place. Now, the last video I wanted to show, I don't know if you guys have heard about Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, unfortunately, got himself in a pickle. He is supposedly being held against his will in Dubai. Now, as far as I knew, I thought Mayweather was like over 500 million, if not $1 billion. I don't know what he done did to get himself in this situation, but let's listen to this. Please like the video, share the video. Let's go.
Hot tea. All right, now I've been sitting on this for about a day after Gervonta Davis said that Floyd was being held in Dubai because he owes some money. So I did some research, but I'm going to read this tweet to y'all first, and then I'm going to let y'all know what I found out. So this guy is Rick Glazer. Now, apparently, he does a lot of business in Dubai, and he actually made some calls, and here's what he found out about the situation. Just got off the phone with my guy in Dubai. He told me that Floyd Mayweather is definitely being held by the government court system there, as he owes a substantial amount of money in Dubai. They take indebtedness over there very seriously. Was told that the debt is unassociated with boxing. Floyd's desperately trying to work things out, to no avail so far. So Gervonta the Tank Davis is correct that Floyd is being held there. Now, I heard that they took his passport too. So that's why he can't leave. Now, I also heard that if a country takes your passport or they're holding it, it's ways to get around that. I heard you could spend money and invest in other countries and get a quick passport if you get citizenship in another country. I'm not too familiar with that. I'm just repeating what somebody else told me. So they're basically trying to say Floyd could leave if he wanted to. Now, if he did take some alternative route to get out of the country, he probably wouldn't be allowed back. But they say he's staying purposely because he wants to fix the situation. Now, I'm also hearing that Floyd didn't even do anything wrong. It's somebody that's associated to him that either ran off with some money or they did something funny with some money, but that person has left the country, and now Floyd is still in Dubai, and he has to deal with the consequences. So, like this guy said, I did hear that he's trying to figure something out or work something out so he can come back home, but nothing has been, official yet on whether or not Floyd is coming home anytime soon. Now, also, just to give you guys some type of reference, usually when people get in trouble out of the country, especially in Dubai, you could be there for months, maybe even years in some cases. I know people who got caught up with weed and was there, about 1 or 2 years trying to figure it out. We saw something similar with Brittany Griner, right? But it wasn't Dubai, but you cannot be playing when you in these other countries. Now, the other thing that pops up is Floyd is rich. He got the money. I'm hearing that Floyd does have the money to take care of it, but he doesn't want to pay for somebody else's mistake. I don't know how true that is, but everybody's looking like, oh, Floyd is broke. Why don't he just pay the money?
See,
I'm hearing that it's an ego thing or a pride thing with Floyd.
When we going to learn that when we leave America, we are at the mercy. Whatever happens, wherever you go, literally at the mercy. So It says, I just got off the phone with my guy in Dubai. He told me that Floyd Mayweather is definitely being held by the government court system. There he owes a substantial amount of money in Dubai. They take indebtedness over there seriously. Was told the debt is unassociated with boxing. Floyd is desperately trying to work things out to no avail so far. So Ginavanti Tank Davis is correct that Floyd is being held there. Unfreaking believable. Like I said, money doesn't really matter when you are out of jurisdiction where you are from. And now he's got himself in a position where he's going to be at the liberty or mercy of these people in Dubai. And those people normally don't look to melanated people very kindly, especially Africans. So I'll be keeping up on that story. But before I go, there was one more video I told y'all a while ago that there are Liberians that are stranded in Ghana. They were living there for about 30 years or more, living in Ghana, supposedly for a refugee status, asylum seeker status. And out the blue, Ghana decided just to get rid of the camp, the refugee camp. And so various people now have been wandering about for about a month or close to a month, homeless since their encampment was demolished by bulldozers. One day they woke up to the sound of bulldozing and they had to hurry up and grab whatever they can grab and get out of Dodge. And these same people are now still crying out, Pan-Africans, if you exist, this is a situation that you could do or get involved in, and tell all the Pan-Africans, let's see them work their magic, since they say that they got so much love for their people.
It's okay. Okay, good morning to Talkman TV. And I'm Dennis William, chairman of the Liberian community here. I think as you heard and as you can see at my background here, you got a lot of Liberians that are displaced as a result of the demolitions on this camp. And this demolition was unannounced. They work on the 27th Tuesday, February, and they begin to demolish this place. And when we begin to eye the say this demolitions were also started by the chief. And since the 27th up to this person, they are still doing their work. And as you can see our people at the back here. So we are asking everybody in the world, any philanthropists who are the heart of man, to come to our aid, to please help us to take off all the kind of a situation. People that are sleeping out, no food, no water, and there are so many things. And the conditions is getting deplorable. The condition is getting worse on a daily basis. So I'm asking everybody to please come to our aid. This thing was not prepared. This thing was not something that we were informed. So everything we have lost here. People are even fighting you for your own property you have in your own house while demolishing. So this is kind of a situation we found ourselves in. So we're asking everybody in the world to please come to our aid. And I will stop this far. You will listen to the women and the elderly people that are here. They will also explain that part of the story. But I'm just telling you what's happened to the 27th of February. The chief of Guma Fete said they want their land and all announced they begin to demolish houses on top. The only good thing about it, nobody died, but sick people are all literally all around here. No money to take them to the hospital, even food, they got problems for all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, the woman, that woman speak.
Anyways, like I say, there ain't no Pan-Africans coming to rescue these Liberians. They're not coming to rescue the Haitians. They're not coming to nowhere near you in Africa or nowhere near you in America. It does not exist. It's just a figment of their freaky imagination by reading all these books and memorizing all these quotes and all this philosophy and all these things. But when you look at the ground and you look around and you realize you're on your own, and the only thing that we can do is incorporate ourselves in the struggle of what Africans are going through by bankrupting ourselves, which I see Pan-Africans are ongoingly wanting to see us do this to ourselves. They're in promotion of it. I see that Sisters International did a couple of videos. Shout out to you for doing those videos, talking about romance scams and also people failing recently in Africa and what you have to do to make that transition better. That was a better way of explaining it if that's what you want to risk trying. But like I say, it's still a big gamble. And I don't think that Indigenous Black Americans have much of a leg to stand on with putting so much of a gamble out there for Africa. That's just my opinion. Those that want to do what you want to do, you can do as if you want, well, do what you need to do. But just recognize that there are stories out here that showcasing how people are failing, and doomsday is what they found. And, you know, money's dried up and just different things you cannot foresee can happen. You can get very sickly. You can have an injury. You can do so many, you can get set up, like I did on the story of a woman that rented an Airbnb to a couple that smuggled in bullets and was set her up to go to prison, or jail rather. Just different things constantly are happening to us, and we have no protection once we leave America. Yeah, we don't have the best protection in America, but we have a degree of protection in America in comparison to if you were to go on your own in other parts of the world. You would have to be subjected to the conditions on the ground. And if the government decided to oust you, like these Liberians, this is what they're experiencing.
My name is Sigba.
And this is Ghana, by the way. Liberians in Ghana.
I am one of the residents of Budurura Zone 1, house number 172. As my chairman regularly said, I think you people, or what he just said, we are here in this place. See the tapuni, we are sitting on right now for the story of our place, because that one, I can't call it that this was not official, something that we know. They told us that they were coming to decommission the camp here on the international level. While the UNHCR and the Ghana Refugee Board told us, but see what happened to the Liberians. They called us former refugees. See what happened to our children are here, not going to school anymore. Our wives are here, nothing doing. We just outside here sleeping in front of the manager office. And to our surprise yesterday again, the chief boys came here and then they were threatening us again yesterday. They came here in afternoon time telling us that we should forgive this area because they were sent by the Goma chief and elders for us to leave this place. They want to create on this place to reach on the new road. And the only place safe haven we have right now is the manager office. This continue. So all the Liberians we are gathered here, that maybe the UNHCR and the Ghana Refugee Board will be arranging things to see how best to address our issue. But see today, after the time we are not here.
African Union's not going to be on the rescue. Pan-Africans are not going to be on the rescue. Nobody is being on the rescue. Just an isolated incident. I so happen to be able to catch this video of Liberians videotaping their experience once they were bulldozed out of an encampment for these refugees that have been living in Ghana for 34 years. This is what Ghana's decided to do and how they're treating them right now. Do y'all really think that if we in mass number went to Africa, that something like this could not happen to us? Y'all better think again. Like I said, we're nobody special. especially once you leave America. You're nobody special. You're nobody. You are nothing no more as an American. So people trying to tell us and feed us this line that we need to go back to the Stone Age and dream the dream and gamble the gamble. Like I said, I see us going in this direction if we choose wrong. If we keep choosing wrong, we're going to go in this direction.
And every point they are threatening us today. Now you see all the brothers and the sisters are out here waiting to see if they will come with a machine because we have nowhere to go. So we sit here, they come and throw the death on us, but we have nowhere to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was Sibaba bringing us that information. My name is Joe Bilo. I'm also an affected person of this demolition exercise. I'm a resident here. I'm a Liberian, and then I hold a refugee document as well. Here we are before the camp manager's office. Earlier we heard the camp, the head of the Liberian refugees talking here in person of Mr. Dennis William, and he said a whole lot more. But the situation here is getting deplorable as the day goes by because people are sleeping outside, and we have mosquito biting people. There's a whole lot of issues happening here. Even the water we are using here is not good at all. It's kind of causing rashes on people's skin. So we'd like to go out there and talk to most of the women who would like to share the concerns. So your name and
my name is Precious Quay from Liberia. My name is Precious Quay from Liberia. Okay. I'm a refugee in Ghana since 1990. I was baby when I entered in this country. No man, no pa. The woman that brought me, the woman died. I've been struggling. I've been washing around, see my hair black hair to feed myself. For that, I was even raped. Oh, God. The men that were helping me the natural way in me. Their brother that sit down on the table, they call Siba. Siba, the one that put in on me, helping me, Ghana people. They think you too. I sleeping on plow. You show the plow, you give the plow to me. You give me the plow. I think the people do to me. I don't think I can see you. Everything living stuff. I don't want to cry.
Is she saying she got to sleep on that? I guess. Wow.
And I get slipper. You see the slipper away? As my boy, I can miss slipper. And I get slipper to wear. My people, you are here. We dying in Ghana here slowly. I dying. I sleeping on some upload. I'm begging you. You come for our rescue.
okay. The case is like this.
Yeah, mommy just for some no country drinking. You see my dress? I go Kaswa market before I will come. They don't my whole horse. And I take nothing for in my house. I single mother with two living children. Me and my children will sleeping on the street on the plow. So we begging anybody that will hear our voice to come to our aid. Because we refugee.
Pan-African. Hello, Pan-African. This is a cue for you. You can go to Ghana. You're already there, supposedly got all these organizations all over the place in Africa. Can't you go there to help the Liberians resolve their issue? Oh, Pan-Africans, you theorizers, you hypothesizers, you liars. Can't you go to Liberia and help this lady out and help the people out of Liberia? They're in Ghana. Many of y'all are there. In Ghana. I bet you nobody has talked about this story, though that's a Pan-African. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? I thought so.
You know, we refugee, I know how to call it. Refugee in what you against it. We don't know how we call it. We want to deal sleeping in a deal. Refugee displaced. You see, you say, I have two players, they won't call on the land. I watch it, I hang it up before I go Kaswa. I can't only crap all the way. I just take it are only 2 crore again. Watch the way. Single mother with 2 lazy children. They're not going to school now because everything break in the house. So we're asking the community, the people to help come to our aid. So thank you.
Again, more than likely, no one's coming. I will stay on top of the show. Every time they showcase videos, I will showcase what they're going through, who has come for their rescue. I bet you Pan-Africans ain't came, because it ain't about saving them. It's about incorporating us into the bullshit that's going on over there. What about all those migrants that are fleeing and risking their life to leave? Do they ever talk about those people and the plight to have them stop coming to America because it's such a racist place to be? They're going to treat you bad once you get there, right? They have no conversations about migrants coming to America, no conversations about, you know, racism is not a better upgrade for what it is, that because they know damn well it is an upgrade. They ain't gonna say it because they know damn well that will look silly. But they can only sell that to us, though, somehow, by just painting a beautiful fantasy-filled picture. And, you know, hopefully my videos are going to start waking people up. I think that I'm starting to be listened to more. I think more people are not understanding me more than anything. But I hope as you keep watching and listening that you'll start understanding and seeing what I see. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I was going to play music, but the reason why I didn't is because my last video got snatched, by the way, because, drum roll, because I played Jimi Hendrix. That song was blocked globally. So that's why I didn't ask to play songs, and I only played one song in the beginning, but I'll try to come back, but I'll just have to be more careful playing music. But I really enjoy playing music. If you guys have one song in particular that maybe I told y'all to go get a song, let me know if there's one song that I can play before I go. But before I go, I'll read the comment section real quick. Again, all Pan-Africans do is debate, argue, blame, shame, bash, and manipulate to make money off of our asses. That's what they've been doing. That's what they'll keep doing. We are the people that's being preyed upon. We are the targeted groups of people. This is our plot, our ploy, what do you call it? Our plot in life. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, we have been designated to be absolved away by globalization and colonization. That's what they would like to have happen to us. And with us having our last fight to identify ourselves and trying to, you know, find our voice in the matrix of what's going on has really shown how many people are against us as a collective, as Indigenous Black Americans. That's what I've observed. That's what I know. This is why I do videos, in hopes to wake up our people about what I see and what's going on in real time. You said, why did he still go to Dubai? He went there plenty of times. Now they want to hold him there. Yeah, he gonna be forking out some money, Miss D, when it's all said and done. You know, Gates started out debunking Black Americans' claims that said that they were Indian because of their high cheekbones. He told Tina Turner that Black Americans got their high cheekbones from whites. I know they just desperately don't want us to have a connection to Indian people. But like I said, a lot of that stuff is fairly new technology anyways. And not so many people are in the system to be able to make an accurate I think percentage when it comes to Indians, what we're considering Black Indians to be. It's not even being acknowledged as a feature that they have provided. I don't believe in none of that stuff. I don't care anything about those kits personally. They can kiss my ass, getting my information, my DNA, for them to study it and then make a super bug to kill me. I don't think so. Other people have access to y'all DNA for taking those kit tests. I talked about that before. $5 Indians have high cheekbones, I guess. Easy X says. Exactly. That's exactly what I typed on his video. I said if white people had high cheekbones, they wouldn't be paying for Botox. Pinky says always begging. It's a messed up situation that they're in. I don't feel I feel bad for them, but there's nothing I can do. You know, Africans need to be going over there that are Liberians or neighboring countries should be going to see about, you know, those people. I don't know how many are displaced, but many of them are. So this is where Diddy went. Diddy's still in America. Cosmic Vision. Where are the panties? You people need help. They're nowhere to be found. They're stuck in a book right now. None of them had high cheekbones like indigenous Black Americans. Four Rivers says, yes, the $5 Indians that had offspring with indigenous Blacks would have high cheekbones. They're calling on America and the EU for help. I know, isn't that crazy? Their offspring would, not many of us. Never heard any panties speaking about Liberians stuck in Ghana. Your return. No, they've been there for 34 years, Easy Acts. They've been there for a long time. They could have planned it better for them to give a date when they were supposed to have been given before they did what they did, so that the people could have made arrangements to maybe go somewhere else or go back to Liberia, or plead with the government to help them go back to Liberia before they did the demolition. I don't think they were given an option. I just think that they just did the unthinkable and just bulldozed over in the middle of the night and caused the people to be like that. And that's like one of the fears that I have, that we would spend all our money in trying to go to Africa and then something like that would happen, or it get burnt down by jealous locals. They would burn down the compound that you guys built, and then that would just really set it off. That would just be really horrific. And I don't want to hear any type of stories that's coming up that people might do against us because they feel like we've been spared from the conditions of the ground of what other melanated people are going through. People don't want us having our birthright to be free and have our rights as citizens and to be recognized as Americans. It's really obvious that a lot of people are hating on our status here as Americans. And that's why they come after us all the time about why we call ourselves Americans and everything like that. Anything loose ends? Okay. You said, where's the big mouth Pan-Africans when it comes to Liberians? They went totally quiet on the topic. I bet you they won't talk about it. Where's Dynasty Mir at? Huh? Talking about Liberians stranded in Ghana. Huh? There's so many Pan-Africans in Ghana. There's an African superstar. She don't ever talk about it. She talking about us coming back to Africa. She's in America right now, preaching about us having a escape plan to Africa. But she can't tell her mama to have an escape plan to Africa first. That's what I'm talking about. These people are full of shit. You said, yes, be careful. Your videos are too important to be taken down. Whenever another incident happens with a download, I'll do another one. There's plenty of them that happens all the time. The panties agenda is for Black Americans to trade places with fleeing Africans. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So let me play a couple of songs. I think I could play the first one. You said Loose Ends. I love that song. Hanging on a String. I haven't played that song in a while. And then I'll play the other song that Easy X wants. But I appreciate everybody for spending the Sunday afternoon with me, hanging on a string. We don't want to be hanging on a string. This is a good song. I love this song. This is an 80s or 90s song, one or the other. But I like the instrumentals in this song. I like the words of the song. It's kind of reminiscent to what we're going through. They want us to be hanging on a string and lost without a cause so that we can be told what to think on because of some fucking books.
After all this time, I waited like a fool. Now who's been changing you? You got me hanging on the same line. I'm not your plaything. You got me hanging on the same line. I ain't no plaything. You got me hanging on the same line. Stop masquerading. You got me hanging on the same line. I ain't your plaything.
Yes, Four Rivers, if they were legit, they would be writing, demanding something, trying to pressure the government to do something about the Liberians. They're not trying to do nothing because they're not legit. They're all liars. I appreciate everybody for listening. I'm gonna play one more song. My phone might die. Well, it's not gonna die. It tried to die while the song was playing, and then it re-upped again. But here is Atlanta Star for, I believe, Easy X. Did you get this song? But here it is. Thank y'all all for coming through. Hit the like button, please.
I'm offering my love. I want to give you all the things that you want me to. There's so much more that I could do for you. Yeah. But you just won't let me give you my love. What is wrong with you? Don't you know love is gone? You better answer. You better answer. 'Cause it might be a big mistake if you decide to hesitate. Oh, and love's gone. Yeah. You better answer. Don't let it slip away too many times. 'Cause love may not come again. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Thank everybody for coming through. I really appreciate it. I hope that you guys have a blessed day. On the way out, please like and share the video. I would greatly appreciate that, and bless up.